new host, new teams to start, and a new event to start the new season of Tour de Endurance. Hello everybody, I am Angus, and this time I am joined for the entire season by my co-host, Raman.
Thank you so much for letting me be part of this. What's going to be a very exciting season, I can tell. We see an example run in the first event, Archery, similar to how it was in qualifiers. And the Blue Brigade and Onion Union, top of their groups, are the ones to watch out for here today.
And there you see the scoring system for each block. And Team Expedition did alright, but here's where we should really start to see some skill from our host, Team Sunrise, in the first run of the day.
Of course, the host sets the benchmark. How will they do here? They will get one bullseye, but still waiting for their last marble to go, and that will be an 8.
It looked pretty good, but look at that right there. When the second marble made an impact, pushing him away, and that lowered their score by about, I'd say, 2 or 3. But 2 or 3 is worth a lot of difference in this event, as shown in the qualifiers.
Now, for the defending champions, the Grayscales, how does their run stack up to the hosts of this season?
Oh dear, not a great start.
What will their last marble do? They desperately need to claw it back, and they will not. The Grayscales, they will be starting from the back, it seems like, in the second season.
Only an 18.5. That is one of the worst scores we've ever seen in archery, not just in this season, but also in the qualifiers.
Now, for the Grayscales, rivals throughout the entirety of last season, the Marauders, they will get a much better start, it seems like, and seems more consistent than the Grayscales, but also have a few runs too close to the near side.
They had a great start with a fantastic bullseye, but the rest just kind of fizzled out after that for a 25 score. As we move on to the Serpent Speeders, who came very close last season with a comeback story at the very end. What can they do here?
Oh, they will get a couple very close to the bullseye. What will their other 2 marbles do? Also fairly far.
First marble went quite slow for a 23 score, 5-8. Okay, that's not too bad. Onion Union, the first team, this is their first season of Tour de Endurance after failing to qualify for Season 1.
They did very good in this event in the qualifiers, but they are not making up for it here. Oh, there's a 3rd marble though. Very solid, and their 4th marble also trying to bring it back.
That third marble was a fantastic bullseye. Just barely misses his teammate straight down the middle for a 27.5 into second place for them.
So far, no one has been able to top the host, Team Sunrise. What can the Hellclowns do?
It's a fantastic start.
For this rookie team, how will they start in their first main league event? It's looking pretty promising for them. They are currently in the bronze spot.
Although there are still 10 runs left to go, so that bronze spot might not hold for very long as the White Knights hit the track next.
White Knights saw a major improvement from Season 1 qualifiers to Season 2, but what can they do in the big show? It's looking fairly inconsistent. They had a couple close to those blue blocks. It's only good enough for 5th place.
None of those were close enough. 24 only, 5th place. That's probably going to be a bottom half result as the Blue Brigade, the best score from the qualifiers, hit the track next.
Blue Brigade, will they be able to live up to their qualifier performance? It's not looking like it though thus far. They will get one bullseye and another very close to it. But I don't think it's going to live up to what they did.
You were right. It wasn't quite what they did, but they are in first place, 29.5, compared to Team Sunrise, 28. So a 1.5 lead for the Blue Brigade at the halfway mark of this event.
Well, it wasn't enough to beat their qualifier score, but it was enough to beat the host thus far in the Blue Brigade. Seemed to be Archery, the team to beat in this event, in Archery.
Meanwhile, the Citrus Sprinters didn't have the best run on the archery as they hit a 4, 6, 5 and only a 5.5, not even 1.8 for them, and a 20.5 straight down to the second to last spot. That's a Sweet and Sours next to run.
They'll be looking to do anything but what the Citrus Sprinters did, and they do get one close to the bullseye, but one very far, and the other 2 though getting close to those blue and green blocks.
They were quite messy
like in the decent, and it is good enough for 3rd place for the Sweet and Sours.
The Silly Slimes. They were pretty good in Season 1, but they were not good enough to be on the podium. What can they do in this season? They're going to start with a 6 on the dark blue. And they're looking pretty good. A bit of a far one up there. But look at this last one. It's going to be very close to the bullseye.
And they had a good start last season. They're going to get another decent start here to this season. The Silly Slimes. for the 5th place thus far.
All right,
So
the
we go
Green
into the
Peacocks.
final 5 runs.
They have a lot to improve after their sort of subpar performance in Season 1, but they're starting off with a very close to a bullseye. And then there is a bullseye, I do believe. Oh, but that
But
last
the
one.
other 2 marbles just going way to the far side. That's not going to live up to the other marbles, but 2nd place thus far with 2 bullseyes. Despite not being the most consistent run, but those bullseyes paid off.
And the Croissant Crew. And then what a fantastic start. Oh, no!
Croissant Crew, almost friendly fire at that point with those 2 marbles. Looking like they could have got 2 bullseyes, but then that impact there.
That would have been a beautiful
Still
second
not
bullseye.
Still not enough to get them out of the bronze spot, though, as they are currently provisionally 3rd.
The party crashes. A 6 to begin their run. They go up. Oh, they go up very high. But a bullseye to make it up, and then another 6. That wasn't too bad. It was inconsistent, but it worked. But it's only good enough for 10th place provisionally with a 24.5.
Some teams are really being hurt by their inconsistency, especially with going too much to the far side or the near side. So you see the moneymakers in the penultimate run
Look at that
start. It's a fantastic start. The moneymakers. This could challenge for the top spot. Their final 2 marbles weren't amazing though. We'll have to see what it is overall.
It is!
And
it's 30.5. They've taken the lead by 1 point exactly over the Blue Brigade with just 1 run left to go from the Steel Force.
This means that Moneymaker is guaranteed no less than silver. Steel Force, though, will they challenge? It's not looking like it. This is inconsistent as can be, which means
the Moneymakers have won the first gold of Tour de Endurance Season 2.
Blue Brigade pick up the silver, and it will be the Green Peacocks that get the bronze.
First event has already been won by a rookie, so you can already tell this is going to be a very different season to what Season 1 had to offer, but congratulations to our top 3 for our first event. And as you would expect, the overall standings, Moneymakers hold the top spot with Blue Brigade and Green Peacocks in second, but it is still anybody's game. The next event, the final elimination race. We'll see you then. From a new event to an old event, Tour de Endurance Season 2 begins Event 2 with the season finale of Season 1, which the Serpent Speeders took the win in. Will they take it again here in the final elimination race?
The second event of this season, we've seen the Moneymakers take gold in the first event, but here, no time to waste, we're going to get into Heat 1.
Moneymakers are not in this group, but there's a whole pack of the previous second place, the Blue Brigade, are in this one, along with the third place, Green Peacocks, both in this group.
Green Peacocks positioning themselves well, as well as the Sweden Sours who just fell down. And then I think there's one model still up top who's fallen down there. That's the Marauders, our Season 1 runner-ups.
But of course, this event is all about staying out of last place, and the Croissant Crew throughout this entire run have been struggling to do that. The White Knights fall back on through now, but there's a whole pack that could easily join them in the next few seconds. The Croissant Crew do so.
Croissant Crew, looks like they're dueling with the White Knights, and the Croissant Crew fall off, and they're going to be eliminated first in this event.
And then, of course, winning the group will move you on to the final, which is currently between the Marauders, Green Peacocks, and the Sweet and Sours all spinning around. The Green Peacocks come on through, but the Sweet and Sours, full funnel ahead, they'll take the first final spot.
The Sweet and Sours will no longer be in danger of elimination. They are going straight to the final. Croissant Crew, though, they will get a bottom 2 finish.
Look at the movement between Croissant Crew and White Knights. They're just dueling while the Blue Brigade jump on in. All that fighting stopped the Blue Brigade from coming on through. Now we move on to the second round of Heat 1.
So we're going to do all the rounds in Heat 1 and then move on to Heat 2. So as you see, the Blue Brigade fall on through first.
Party Crashers positioning themselves well at the top. They take the lead early on in this group, with Grayscales tumbling down the order for now.
That's our Season 1 champions who clinched it in this event last season, so that's a bit of a surprise. Grayscales still falling down. Now it's the White Knights positioning themselves up well.
And there's the team they beat in this event last season, the Marauders, who lose out to them again in this. Will they hold out and beat them for sort of revenge in this event? Oh, it's not looking very good. They're a full funnel behind and looking to fall on through.
Marauders, will they be able to hold on here? The White Knights, but the White Knights just barely keep it. So the Marauders will be eliminated.
It's looking like an easy advancement for the Party Crashers here as well. They've been consistent that entire round and win by an entire funnel in this group.
So just like the Sweet and Sours, the Party Crashers stayed out of trouble and they entered the final funnel. Once they did that, it was all over.
Look at that massive battle in the second to last funnel between the White Knights, Green Peacocks and Grayscales. Whoever fell on through there was going to be in big trouble, but the Marauders just couldn't hold out long enough. As the final run of Heat 1, this will be a top 2 and bottom 2 ordeal. There's no 1v1 in Season 2.
So that means that we need to place either first or second in this heat, in this particular round of this heat, and it's the Blue Brigade and the White Knights, one funnel lower than the Green Peacocks and the Grayscales. But now it's a 3-marble battle in that funnel. Now the Grayscales have the lead.
They come on through and the Blue Brigade are pushed up, and it looks like they'll take the lead, and they do. Blue Brigade looking for a second podium in this season.
They push the Green Peacocks down, so the Blue Brigades still positioning themselves up well. White Knights now
Green Peacocks
the bottom
are
spot,
sent
but
on
the Green
through.
Peacocks fall.
Oh no!
And the Green Peacocks will be eliminated. Will the White Knights hold on though in the last funnel? Here come the Grayscales. Will the Grayscales drop on first? They do, and the White Knights will move on.
White
Blue
Knights,
Brigade will also...
very nice movement there, keeping ahead of the Green Peacocks and the Grayscales, who tumbled in the final couple funnels. Just have a look at their movement here. They're very erratic, as are the White Knights, but they're bumped, and that keeps them in the game. The Blue Brigade, very consistent in that group to move on to the next round, with the White Knights, Sweet and Sours, and the Party Crashers moving on to Heat number 2. Everybody else, including last event's winners, the Moneymakers, and Season 1 Elimination Race victor, the Serpent Speeders.
So a lot of marbles to watch out for in this heat. The Steel Force and the Moneymakers, aforementioned, are in the bottom funnel, but now here come the Serpent Speeders. Some of those marbles that are the ones to look out for, not doing too well in this event.
Big old pack of marbles looking to advance to the final at the top, including our current leaders, I think. Oh no, they're dropping through to Steel Force. Team Sunrise, the host. Serpent Speeders not looking too good down below there. The Hellclowns join them. It's an absolute battle down at the bottom. Who's it going to be? Serpent Speeders push the Hellclowns on through, and the Hellclowns will be eliminated in this group first.
Steel Force up top, but they drop on two with the Citrus Sprinters and the Silly Slimes. Silly Slimes also tumbling. Who will be, now that the marbles eliminated, all eyes on who's going to win the heat and advance to the final.
And look at the Citrus Sprinters there. They outspin everyone in the top funnel as they all just push themselves on through and almost pushed their time beyond a minute, but just not quite. It was a very good run by the Citrus Sprinters, though. You can just look at that whole pack up at the top, staying away from that elimination spot.
Great job by the Serpent Speeders to avoid elimination. They were looking like they were going to go from first in this event last season to eliminated first round, but their experience showed there. We get into the second round of this heat.
You can see how slowly, compared to last heat, they're taking a lot more time to come on down to do the less impacts and more now they know how this event works. Some of these newcomers, Moneymakers though, not having a great run so far. Steel Force, Team Sunrise, and Silly Slimes have the top 3 lead. Here come the Serpent Speeders tumbling down. Look at that movement. That is the definition of erratic. That is not what you want to be doing.
Will the Serpent Speeders be able to make a comeback once again? The Steel Force are down there and Team Sunrise, but it looks like it might be too dire for the Serpent Speeders who drop onto through.
This means we will have a different winner in this season compared to Season 1, but again, Serpent Speeders, you'd think with all their experience in the funnels, they wouldn't have as crazy movement, and the Silly Slimes outbest everyone else to sneak through to the final. But I'm just astounded.
That was very close. That was a very close battle for that transfer position. Usually you've seen one marble just outspin everyone else, but here was very close between the Silly Slimes and the Steel Force.
Alright, now we move on to the top 2 battle. Onion Union, Moneymakers, Team Sunrise, and the Steel Force in the battle to move on to the final with the other 6. Taking a long time to get one on through, and it is the Moneymakers to drop on through first.
Now, Team Sunrise, the home team, has dropped on through, but so have Onion Union and the Steel Force. Now here come the Moneymakers also dropping on through, and the hosts have the lead.
Then not only is it a lead, it's a commanding lead. They had a big movement ahead of Moneymakers there. Oh, well, they're pushed on through in that next funnel while Steel Force tumble down the course. But Team Sunrise now join them They're not having a great run in the second half of this course. Moneymakers and Onion Union looking strong up at the top, but anything can change in the final few finals. Steel Force. Oh, they push Onion Union on through, who might get pushed through by Team Sunrise. Yes, they are.
Now, who's going to get it? Moneymakers looking in a good position, but this is Steel Force that fall on through. So Team Sunrise will be moving on, as well as our Event 1 winners, the Moneymakers, with an easy advancement. Look at this spin.
You saw Team Sunrise and Steel Force. They were basically in the exact same line. Look at this. Just Steel Force just lightly tapping them through the movements, and that's what pushed Steel Force through before Team Sunrise. And that cost them a spot in the final. There you see them lined up ahead of the losers from the heats. They were ready to go.
So now we have all of the 8 marbles that have advanced from the heats. Now, of course, it doesn't matter if you win each heat, each round in this final. It just matters if you place last. You want to avoid that elimination spot. White Knights currently in the bottom.
Oh, they're not having a great run at all. They're tumbling through. Team Soccer, now they're starting to get joined because of all the impacts. And Team Sunrise, Citrus Sprinters also join them. There's a whole pack. Anyone could still get eliminated here, but the Citrus Sprinters are not having a great run at all down below. You see up top, there's like a 6 marble fight to try and stay out of that bottom funnel. And it continues to grow. The White Knights are shoved on through in, I don't even know how that happened. Sweet and Sours join them though. The Blue Brigade are also there. There's an absolute mix, and the Silly Slimes will miss out.
What a crazy first round to this final. All of those marbles in the final funnel at the same time. It looks like between the Blue Brigade and the Party Crashers, who's going to get this win? It's just for bragging rights. It's going to be the Blue Brigade that get it.
Let's have a look
Silly
at this.
Slimes.
Let's have a look at this ending again. The Sweet and Sours come on through. Blue Brigade, there's just a 4-way fight. Even Citrus Sprinters get involved, but Silly Slimes just got the short end of the stick in that one. And they will miss out on the rest of this final, taking in 8th place.
That's about as close as it might get. Although we still have 6 rounds to go. The White Knights drop on through first, followed by the Moneymakers, and a whole gaggle of marbles coming on through.
Well, Team Sunrise had some erratic movement, but they get saved by the White Knights and the Blue Brigade coming through, and they fall to last for now. But Team Sunrise drops straight on through. Look at those 3. I think that's the Sweet and Sours positioning themselves very well to stay out of the elimination spot, at least in this round.
The White Knights once again struggling in the first part of this run. Blue Brigade also down there. They might have expended their energy from some of that movement in the first round. That unnecessary movement.
Sweet and Sours have fallen on through.
Here?
They've tumbled all the way down. Okay, they won't get eliminated. It will be the White Knights instead. But the Sweet and Sours, a bit of a close call there. They were winning at the top part of the track, and you got to keep your movement up all the way throughout. You can't just expend all your energy at the beginning. And look at this, the Party Crashers again, looking in a pretty good position to win the heat. Or will Moneymakers best them? They will this time. Party Crashers consistently second place so far, but the White Knights.
The White Knights, of course, rookie team in this season. They did not qualify for last season, but this event, they've done pretty well. 7th place, not too shabby.
And funnels is where Total Endurance shines, so if you can do well in the funnels, you should do well everywhere else. As we move on to the next round of this group, who's going to come with the Blue Brigade, just a whole pack comes on through first, but still pretty clean movement so far in these funnels.
Now, for the battle to see who gets 6th place. It's the Party Crashers that have dropped on through, but here come almost everyone else. Blue Brigade's also down there, and the Sweet and Sours.
Blue Brigade, they're pushing through by the Sweet and Sours, I do believe. They're still in last place, but Sweet and Sours, it's been these two throughout the entire battle so far in this round, but Party Crashers, who've done very well so far, join them. Citrus Sprinters looking good up at the top. Party Crashers and Blue Brigade still battling. Here come Team Sunrise now into the final funnel. Blue Brigade, that is erratic movement. It's not looking good, and yep, they are gone.
The Blue Brigade, that wide arc did not work out for them, and they will be eliminated. But who's going to get the win? It will be the Moneymakers.
I think that's the second time in a row. Moneymakers looking pretty good in this final, looking to get perhaps a 2nd medal to start their games, which would be fantastic for the rookies.
So now we have our top 5 set. Moneymakers, Team Sunrise, Sweet and Sours, Party Crashers, and the Citrus Sprinters. Now, only of these, the Moneymakers had medaled in the first event, so they could potentially stretch their lead here.
Alright, Team Sunrise and Party Crashers come on through first. And again, Citrus Sprinters positioning themselves well early on, but Team Sunrise not having a great run so far. Now it's all just about keeping your own spin in check. There's a lot less impacts now with 5 people. You've got to be focusing more on yourself and pushing other people down. But that does... Sweet and Sours are still pushing people down in the lead up there as others tumble down.
Sweet and Sours up there avoiding that 3 marble battle in the other funnel where all of them are now in the funnel below the Sweet and Sours. Who's going to drop on first? It is Team Sunrise, but the Party Crashers close behind. It'll be very close to see who gets eliminated. Who will it be?
Moneymakers, Party Crashers, they're all packing on through, and it will be the Moneymakers. They will miss the medals this time, but that is still a great finish for our gold medalists in the first event. But look at the Sweet and Sours. They avoided the battle the entire time there. That's how you want to do it. You don't want to get involved. You want to stay out of it.
Sweet and Sours, great showing in this particular round, but will they be able to sustain it in the coming rounds?
Look at the sprinters. Fending them off.
This,
Just barely pushing the Moneymakers on through.
that is some masterful blocking and spinning in the final funnel. Now, of course, this round is the one that determines who doesn't medal and the other 3 marbles that do medal. It is the Citrus Sprinters that fall on first.
And one of the marbles in this heat is, of course, Team Sunrise, the home team. The home team crowd is going to want Team Sunrise to get a good medal here at the second event of these games. They're currently doing pretty good. They're up on the top with those 3, while the Party Crashers fall on down through the rest, while Sweet and Sours fend them off.
Party Crashers and the Sweet and Sours, these 2 have had their good moments in this event before, but it looks like one of them might be dropping on through. The other 2 marbles are almost 2 funnels, well now 1 funnel still ahead of them. Sweet and Sours drop on through in the penultimate funnel. There comes Team Sunrise. Who's going to drop on through? Team Sunrise.
Team Sunrise are falling apart, and it's all over for the home team. Oh dearie me, they'll miss the medals, but this means the Citrus Sprinters, Party Crashers, and the Sweet and Sours will make up the podium of this event.
The question is, in what order? The home crowd disappointed to see Team Sunrise so close to the podium, but now they're going to see who actually makes it and who will make it on the top step between the Citrus Sprinters, Party Crashers, and the Sweet and Sours.
It will all be in one race between 3 of them. There's no 1v1 again. It's just going to be these 3 for the medals, for the win. Here they go.
Who will it be? Sweet and Sour, Citrus Sprinters, and the Party Crashers. Only the Party Crashers were in the Season 1. The other 2 haven't done this event before. They've done very well to get this far, but will they do good enough to get the gold?
Now, Raman, if you remember, Sweet and Sours won the funnel event in the qualifiers for Season 2, so they have some funnel skill, as they've proved, but Party Crashers have more of that experience. Citrus Sprinters are completely new to this. Let's see how they do. They're currently, Party Crashers doing the worst. Sweet and Sours holding strong up at the top, I believe, with that wider arc.
Now with that 2 marble battle between those 2 puts the Sweet and Sours in a good position, but the Sweet and Sours have now fallen on through, and now it's the Party Crashers that looks like they're in a good position to win the event.
It's between those 2 at the top. Citrus Sprinters have fallen on through. It's between Sweet and Sours and Party Crashers. Sweet and Sours have been bested in the last funnel, and the Party Crashers will win Elimination Race gold.
That was some great spinning from the Party Crashers. Very signature move of them to drop on through before the other marbles, and then the other marble comes down and they just tactically push them down before them.
That's a great win for Wanderer. Cookie and Sinensis making up the top 3 of that one, and well done to them. Let's see our overall
looking up
standings.
The money makers still hold the lead. Party Crashers close behind though. The next event will be the Dirt Race, coming soon. Hello and welcome to the 3rd event of Tour de Endurance Season 2. I am Ramen Powder and I'm joined by Angus once again.
Of course, I'm always here as we begin the Dirt Dash, a race where it is all about distance, going as far as you can on this rather rocky terrain. Team Sunrise taking us into the sun for the first time in this season. Them Onion Union, Party Crashers, and Silly Slimes will show us how it's done.
So the Onion Union out in front, but remember it's about distance, and it's going to be Team Sunrise, the hosts, They get all the way to the furthest, and Party Crashers with a great late lunge, and they're also going to be moving on.
Yeah, Party Crashers saved their energy throughout that heat, slowly but surely crawling their way down the track just to get around Onion Union, who blasted all their energy out immediately. And look at that sneak around. Very nice by the Party Crashers to sneak into the semi-finals.
Party Crashers, of course, won the last event, so they are trending well. Onion Union and Silly Slimes going no further, but now Marauders, Hell Clowns, Green Peacocks, and the Serpent Speeders.
Clear 1-2 split already. Hell Clans and the Green Peacocks are well out in front, and by the looks of it, all Marauders have a go of it, but they will not move on. Those two will fly their way into the semi-finals.
Those two just really got out into a huge lead, and it's not about time, but you can see that with all of that energy forward, the other marbles were just not able to get as far.
Marauders did come pretty close, but not close enough. Serpent just had a terrible time there. As we move on to the next heat, the Steel Force, Sweet and Sours, Blue Brigade, and the Citrus Sprinters.
And it seems like the Steel Force, they had a good start, but then they just went sideways, and it's going to be the Blue Brigade that get out front. Steel Force, good comeback, but they cannot get by the Sweet and Sours.
Steel Force was painful to watch during that heat. Steel Force smacked into what looked like a twig on the track into the side, and they slowed all momentum, and they slowly tried to crawl it back, but just right here, look at this, just cannot get far enough past the Sweet and Sours for the semi-final spot.
So now we head to the final heat. It's the White Knights, Croissant Crew, Grayscales, and the Moneymakers.
Massive push by the White Knights to start, but Moneymakers launch around the Grayscales, and look at the distance from all of them. The Grayscales go all the way to the back of the track, and the White Knights still went very far, but will dip out due to everyone else doing just as well as they did.
Almost everyone in this heat went really quick, really far down the course. You might have to think, with the past knowledge of the course from the other heats, these marbles know how to get far, but the Grayscales and the Moneymakers are going to be moving on.
As should be expected with that previous performance, the White Knights are in 9th place with the Serpent Speeders down in last. That's not looking good for them, who are already far down in the standings, but now we move on to the semi-finals. There's Team Sunrise, Green Peacocks, the Blue Brigade, and the Moneymakers.
And it's the hosts out in front, but I think they're gonna lose it. No, they do get into 2nd place, but it's the Green Peacocks with a late lunge to the front, and they are going to the final.
The Blue Brigade completely stuffed that heat. They just swerved straight into the dirt on the side, while Team Sunrise creep around the Moneymakers. Championship leaders still going to get a good finish here, but it's going to bring them down a bit. Look at the Blue Brigade. They're so much further behind than they were in the heats, or just anyone was in the heats. And into the next semi-final.
Hell Clowns, Party Crashers, Grayscales, and the Sweet and Sours, and the Party Crashers well out in front. Grayscales going far, and it's already over. It's these two teams clearly ahead of the Sweet and Sours and the Hell Clowns.
That was an amazing run by the Party Crashers. I'm astounded. They just went straight down. No time to rest for the reary for them. They just absolutely blasted the field. While Hell Clowns and Sweet and Sours fell back to about the Blue Brigade level. Let's see where they rack up in the style. No, straight into the final. Never mind. Green Peacocks, Grayscales, Team Sunrise, and the Party Crashers.
Who will win the 3rd event of Tour de Endurance? It was the Green Peacocks out in front, but they're going to stall out. The Team Sunrise, the hosts, are going to barely beat the Party Crashers for the gold medal.
The Party Crashers, there is natural debris on this track, but look here, the Party Crashers is like a tiny little stone pebble that just stops them right there. That was the difference between the gold right there for the Party Crashers. But Team Sunrise, the hosts of this league, will win their first gold in this event. Congratulations.
Party Crashers pick up the silver after a gold in their last event, so they are doing very well right now. And Green Peacocks pick up another bronze medal.
And looking at the overall standings, Party Crashers, 2 medals on the board, in first place by 2 points over our host Team Sunrise. Moneymakers only 1 point back. It is still very close at this early point in the games. Will the closest of this league continue? We'll have to find out at the next event, the Boardwalk Blast. We will see you then.
Hello and welcome to the 4th event of Tour de Endurance in Season 2, the Boardwalk Blast. This is going to be a new event, and it's a team event in this season. We haven't seen this before. A new challenge for all the competitors.
There are also some new teams up here, the Expedition teams, who are going to show us how it's done in the events going forward. The Royal Blues and the Breakfast Readers. As you can see, multiples of 5 along the side of this Boardwalk, each line counts as a number, and the collective scores will move on to the next round.
So you can see the Royal Blues much more consistent run here, and that's going to be the key to do well in this team event.
Yeah, the fourth marble can really bring you down if you're not careful. As we hit to the first round, Serpent Speeders and the Moneymakers. Onto the track they go.
And it looks like the Serpent Speeders have 3 up there, and 2 of them will get in front of the Moneymakers. But then I don't see one of the Serpent Speeders. That might be detrimental for them.
We're about to see what the distance is between them, and it's a 2 difference between that last Moneymaker and the last Serpent Speeder. That could be detrimental for the Serpent Speeders, but we're going to wait for the scores to come in. It's too hard to tell from this point.
Moneymakers consistency on their side, and by 1 point, they beat the Serpent Speeders and are moving on to the quarterfinals.
A very close round to start this out, as the Green Peacocks and Onion Union are going to go next. Oh, and a wonderful start for the Green Peacocks. Look at all the way ahead of the Onion Union, and just like that, they've beaten them. I don't think we even need to know what the score is here. They've absolutely thrashed the Onion Union in this round.
The Green Peacocks, they got out in front, and it's not about the speed, but then none of the Onion Union could even get by, and all 4 of the Green Peacocks ahead of the Onion Union.
That is beautiful teamwork. You love to see that in these events. And a 23-point win for the Green Peacocks, and they're above 100 points. That's going to be a mark tough to beat by these teams. Will Croissant Crew or Blue Brigade be able to pull it off?
Looks like much closer between these two, but all the Blue Brigade up in front, while 2 of the Croissant Crew are hanging back by a few boardwalks already. They cannot meet the Blue Brigade.
Yeah, one of those is well behind 20. I'd say it's like 17 or 16 almost. That's not a great run for the Croissant Crew. Have a look at the replay here. The Croissant Crew had that first one. You see that there was a little jolt, and that slowed the whole team down. If the first one messes up, everyone's going to slow down behind them. Being the leader is incredibly important here. And 105! They beat the Green Peacocks.
The Green Peacocks, it looked like that would have been one of the best runs, but the Blue Brigade have just bested it as we go to the Team Sunrise and the Silly Slimes. A lot of bumping here, but the Silly Slimes are going to get 1 out in front, so those 2 others close behind.
Ooh, but it's a really close one. I think Team Sunrise have 1 that is 2 ahead, but Silly Slimes have 1 up there as well. This is going to be another very close one between these 2. The Team Sunrise, of course, the home team, so they've got a big crowd watching them here.
Both teams had 1 straggler, but the Silly Slime straggler was even further back against them because Team Sunrise, the home team, will be moving on by 1 point.
Now the Sweet and Sours and the Marauders. Sweet and Sours have had some good success so far. Marauders should be doing well based on their seeding, and they're doing much better here. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see only 2 Sweet and Sours in the frame. Okay, there's the third one. But Marauders looking better in this as of right now. Oh dear.
Marauders will find their Season 1 form, and it looks like this might be the event where they do it. But they've only got to the next round, it seems like. I think it's pretty clear to say they are moving on in this round.
I definitely agree. 1 Sweet and Sour is all the way back in the 15 spot, 10 points behind the Marauders, which is quite the gap in an event like this, as we move on to the Party Crashers and the Hell Clowns.
The Party Crashers are our championship leaders. We'll see how they do here. The Hell Clowns have 2, 3 up there, while the Party Crashers only have 2. Oh, there is the third one and the fourth one. So this is going to be very close, I think. One of the closest heats we've seen.
Oh yes, and I forgot to mention, if you finish, if you stop between 2 lines, the one you are closer to is the point that you count towards. So that Hell Clown right there is like mixing between the 2 right now, but I think he stopped further towards the one on the left, and that is the case. 92 to 91, very close between the Hell Clowns and the Party Crashers.
Yet another heat determined by just 1 point as we move on to the White Knights and the Grayscales.
Well, this is very close. There's very little difference here. Grayscales have 1 straggler, but they have more consistency in the front 3, while the White Knights are staying in a bit of a pack.
White Knights, all of them, 3 of them, just separated by 1 boardwalk. And the Grayscales, while they weren't as consistent, I think their runs was overall a bit better.
I'll have to wait for the scoring on this one, for I have no idea. And we're waiting, and it's a tie! A tie! We're going to go to a tiebreaker, I think, unless if it's based off of... nope, we're going to a tiebreaker run.
And so these 2 evenly matched teams in this event. Grayscales, though, look like they're out in front, and the Grays think, yes, they will be moving on.
Yeah, with 2 stragglers from the White Knights. They do have 2 that are ahead of or ahead or tied with the others, but those two stragglers are going to absolutely drag them out of this, and the Grayscales should move on to the next round.
The Grayscales, that experience, showing that they managed to pull ahead of the inexperienced White Knights in the tiebreaker, and they are moving on to the quarterfinals.
That's a clean 100 for the Grayscales as well, and if you look at their launch was perfect. There was no bumping, they just launched off a straight away, and now we got the final heat, the Citrus Sprinters and the Steel Force.
Who will be the final team moving on to the quarterfinals? The Citrus Sprinters have one that is going to get out in front ahead of everyone, but they're dancing back and forth. Will they be counted as ahead of that Steel Force? It's going to be tough to tell.
I can't tell with this one. Citrus Sprinters are all over the place, but Steel Force had a very ugly opening. You saw that second marble like hop into the air. That was, I don't know how that happened, but they must have a bad bump against one of the boardwalks, but they still managed to pull up into a pretty decent score, and the Steel Force win by a much bigger margin than I thought. 4 points, I thought that was going to be closer.
I think those two Steel Force adjacent to each other, compared to just one of the Citrus Sprinters on that same line, managed to make the difference.
And there you see the current standings. Onion Union, of course, lost by a massive margin to the Green Peacocks down there in last place. They've got to start doing better. And here are the Green Peacocks against one of our previous gold medalists, the Moneymakers.
The winner of this will go on to the semi-finals. The Moneymakers look like they're in a better position. The Green Peacocks trying to catch up, but I think it might be over for them.
I think I might agree. Moneymakers have 3 that are ahead or tied with all the Green Peacocks. Look at this, all the way up toward 30, in fact, for that one Moneymaker. I think Moneymakers have just cleaner exit, not too many bumps. They went straight through and cleaned that one out with a nice win over the Green Peacocks in quarterfinal A.
So the Moneymakers, there's chance to get another medal in these games with a 7-point win over the Green Peacocks, who were looking very strong in the heats but couldn't do it in the quarterfinal.
Alright, on next quarterfinal, Blue Brigade and Team Sunrise. Team Sunrise have one that's fallen well back already. The Blue Brigade already are looking much more strong to win out this round. Team Sunrise just out of the gate. Immediate bumps. They are all over the place. Only one beyond 25. I think I know who I think is going to be winning this one, Raman.
Yeah, indeed. Only one of Team Sunrise, even close to that trifecta of the Blue Brigade. And so we know exactly who will be moving on. And to the disappointment of the crowd, Team Sunrise will bow out in the quarterfinals.
And to a massive margin, that's an 18-point loss to the Blue Brigade there. As we move on to the Marauders and the Hell Clowns. 2 teams that definitely need a better push in this event.
Only one can advance. Who will it be? It looks like Hell Clowns are going to get one furthest out of anyone, but the Marauders have 3 back to the next Hell Clowns. So the Marauders looking much more consistent.
Hell Clowns have a very wide spread. Only 2 above 20. One of them is even close to 25. I think, based on the Marauders, who are slightly more consistent, they're going to pull through on this one as well. But the Hell Clowns, all over the shot. Too much inconsistency. You've got to stay in a group and still remain, well, give decent scores. You can't just be all over the place with one decent scorer. But only a 3-point win for the Marauders.
So those back marbles actually really made the difference there, because if the Hellclowns were slightly better, they could have taken it down. Grayscales and the Steel Force, 2 great teams trying to battle for the last semi-final spot. The Steel Force will get out in front ahead of everyone else, but will they move on?
This is an absolute mesh of grey. I can't tell what's going on here. I think it looks like the Grayscales did slightly better, but I really just... It's very hard to tell. You see, there's like Grayscales on one half, Steel Force on the other. But we're going to have to wait for the scoring here, for I cannot tell what is going on. And it's another tie!
Another tie, and we are going to another tiebreaker round.
In both the Grayscales runs, they've been in a tie, but the first time they came out on top, this time Steel Force, much stronger competition, and they have one launching ahead, and it looks like they've done better this time round.
The Grayscales cannot mimic their consistency from their initial quarterfinal run, and I think the Steel Force should be moving on here.
Well, yeah, Grayscales have a couple well back there, straggling in the 20 zone, so Steel Force looking much more promising. But look at this. Grayscales had one go well off to the right, which is not momentum going forward, and he stopped right there because he could have gotten a good few more boardwalks in him had he just gone straight ahead. And 95 to 88, Steel Force win over the Grayscales and move on to the semifinals.
So now, we have the semifinal teams. 3 out of those 4 will medal. Green Peacocks bowing out in 5th place against the defending champions in 6th. Team Sunrise, the host, in 7th, and the Hell Clowns in 8th.
Now, this is where we start talking about the medals. Moneymakers and the Blue Brigade. Onto the track for the first semi-final, and the Moneymakers, much stronger exit, and they will, it looks like they thrashed the Blue Brigade in terms of distance. I think Moneymakers will move on here, all beyond or equal to 25.
Yeah, look at that last Moneymaker, equal to the best Blue Brigade marbles. So that clearly shows that the Moneymakers have gotten the best of the Blue Brigade.
And that last straggling Blue Brigade, he could have done more, but he falls all the way back towards, I think it would look like about 17, which, yeah, that's a loss of 12 points for the Blue Brigade. Moneymakers looking for another gold with only 4 events in, which was going to help them catch those party crashes. Now, Marauders and Steel Force in the final semi-final.
It looks like Marauders have one out in front of the rest, but the Steel Force trying to keep that consistency, but they have 2 all the way in the back. Marauders looking much better here.
And the Marauders, yeah, those 3 toward the front of all the others around 25. I think the Marauders, look at the exit. Marauders, that back marble absolutely launched and gave the Steel Force a bit of a push, but that ruined their team momentum. And that was a very smart play by that back Marauder. It pushed it threw their game plan right off. And 5-point win for the Marauders. They move on to the final.
We've seen a lot of the back marbles struggle to keep up, but that last Marauder was not the case there. As we go to the 3rd place round, Blue Brigade and the Steel Force.
It looks like the Blue Brigade, again, that 4th straggler. He's probably lost the match. The Blue Brigade, though, they're shuffling. They're trying to get up as far as they can. All right in the middle. I wonder what timing and scoring are going to think of that one. But that final Blue Brigade, Steel Force are very close to them. That final Blue Brigade, I think, has just costed the team a podium in this event. Steel Force might take the bronze here.
Those 3 Blue Brigade marbles did really well up top, but you need all 4 of your marbles to perform, and that is not what happened for the Blue Brigade, and Steel Force did not have that issue. And as a result, the Steel Force win bronze by 3 points.
And that is the first medal ever for the newcomers Steel Force. As we go to the Moneymakers and the Marauders. One successful new team and a successful old one. Who's going to win gold here?
One of the Marauders well in the back. 3 of them trying to make up for that deficit, but I think that might have been the costing factor for them, just like the Blue Brigade in the 3rd place round.
Yeah, Moneymakers do have a couple back there, but look at this last Marauder. All the way back toward the early teens. That is not going to get you anywhere. That might be the worst single score we've seen so far today. The Moneymakers, just getting their 4+ there, have probably secured the gold for them in this event.
That back marble might be the deciding factor, and it is. Moneymakers get their 2nd gold of the season by 4 points. They beat the Marauders in the Boardwalk Blast.
However, I'm sure the Marauders are very happy to be back on the podium after a good long time struggling in the start of this event and start of this season. Steel Force, very happy to have their first medal in 3rd place. Well done to them.
So as we look at the standings after event 4, the Moneymakers have retaken the lead, and by a healthy margin, 15 points over the host Team Sunrise and the former championship leaders, the Party Crashers. The next event will be the classic downhill drag. Hello and welcome to the 5th event of Tour de Endurance in Season 2, the downhill drag, a staple of the season. After event 4, it is the Moneymakers on top by 15 points over the host Team Sunrise.
Party Crashers sitting in 3rd with the Blue Brigade rounding out the top 4. Some interesting contenders compared to Season 1, but the downhill drag, the big ramp looking strong. As we show, the expedition teams are going to show us how it's done here, and here's the 4 that will be doing it today.
There's some new expedition teams as Team Cameo out in front, and they will get the easy win here. That line clearly showing where the marbles have to cross in order to claim the win here.
Now, I know some of you have seen Team Cameo before. They've become an expedition team willingly after retiring after Season 1. But beyond the expedition teams, let's start with the main event. Grayscales, White Knights, Silly Slimes, and the Moneymakers in Heat 1.
And the White Knights had a jolt, and they're all the way in the back. Grayscale is going to get the win, and the Silly Slimes in 2nd place.
Championship leaders, Moneymakers, not off to a great run here, but they have 2 golds in 4 events. They can take it easy a little bit, but after this event, they might want to put the gas pedal back, because otherwise they're going to start slipping to Team Sunrise, or teams like this one, Steel Force, Green Peacock, 7 Speeders, and the Onion Union.
Onion Union had a great launch, but then fall back. Steel Force going to get the win, and the Serpent Speeders in second. Onion Union, they don't even reach the finish line.
Onion Union just gassed out at the very end. They like lurched to the side, bumped the Green Peacocks, which ruined their run, and then just stopped Steel Force and Serpent Speeders, lurching pretty much a free advancement there. I don't know what the Onion Union did at the exit, but it was an interesting tactic as the Blue Brigade, Party Crashers, Sweet and Sours, and Marauders follow that up.
We're underway in Heat 3, very even heat compared to the last one. It's the Sweet and Sours that might have got the win, but the Blue Brigade and the Party Crashers are close. I have no idea who's going to be advancing here.
A 3-marble race, a bump to the Marauders from the Sweet and Sours, pushes the Marauders back and the Sweet and Sours forward. Well, is that the difference between advancement and not? We're about to find... Oh, look at that. That is crazy.
I think the Party Crashers might have got the win, and they and the Sweet and Sours will be moving on.
The Blue Brigade by the thinnest of margins missing out there in the final heat, including Team Sunrise, who need to capitalise off the Moneymakers' loss here. And it's another very even race down to the line. The Sun Crew are falling back from the lead, and it's another 3-marble race across the line.
That was incredibly close. The Hell Clowns quite on the right of everyone, but staying out of the trouble might have made them advance. We'll have to see.
Oh, look at that. I think the Croissant Crew are just slightly behind both the others. And they are. The Hell Clowns get the win by 11,000th of a second. Citrus Sprinters and the Marauders. The two outliers of the previous two heats, but they did okay in the standings overall. Croissant Crew into 9th, Blue Brigade into 10th.
And of course the Onion Union, the only stoppage in this event, they are in 16th. As we move on to the semi-finals, Team Sunrise, Party Crashers, Serpent Speeders, and the Grayscales. And it's a good start from the Party Crashers, who is going to get the win here in this semi-final.
But again, a very close finish for second place. I could not tell. I could sort of tell with the last two, but with this one, I just have no idea. Grayscales and Serpent Speeders. Look at that one. That is incredibly close.
I also have no idea. I think the Grayscales, and it is Grayscales, by just 11,000ths of a second, that are going to be moving on.
Steel Force, Sweet and Sour, Silly Slimes and Hell Clowns. The last semi-final and a bunch of contact. Silly Slimes launch for the win, and the Hell Clowns, with just more speed, get past the Sweet and Sours, who seem to like slow down as the race went along.
The Sweet and Sours, they got a bump from the Steel Force, but then got bumped back by the Silly Slimes, and that got them not as good momentum as the Hell Clowns, so they will be moving on to the final.
The Serpent Speeders, that is the first good result they've had all season. A 5th place, that's going to start getting some upward momentum for them. Only 7 points in 4 events. But the final, the Grayscales, Party Crashers, Silly Slimes, and the Hell Clowns.
Who will win the 5th event? It is the Grayscales out front. No one's going to challenge them. Grayscales win the downhill drag.
The defending champions are back in action after this event. A massive win for them here. In 2nd place, Party Crashers gas out, but I think a cluster line that was very close. I think the Hell Clowns may have taken that one. We're about to see timing and scoring, and they do over the Silly Slimes. Grayscales, though, a massive win. 3.573. Look at these other times, Ramen, compared to that one.
This has been an event of very close margins. Up until the final, we've had extremely close finishes, but the Grayscales are standing on the top step of the podium.
So now taking a look at the overall standings, the gap has decreased down to just 9 points to the Moneymakers from Team Sunrise, but it is now at this closeness as we move on to the next classic event of this group. It is the Funnel Endurance Classic. We will see you for that one. And Tour Endurance brings us back to our roots for the halfway point of this season, the Funnel Endurance Classic. Moneymakers still on top, 9 points over our host team Sunrise, with Party Crashers, Blue Brigade, and recent gold medalist Grayscales in hot pursuit behind.
So the Funnel Endurance Classic, of course, 2 heats of 8, where the top 4 from each advance to the final. The event is all about endurance. You want to avoid dropping down the funnels and keep your spinning in the funnels to stay at the top as far as possible.
Now you see, in Season 2, there are 2 different funnel types. You've got the wider ones, where there's a lot more contact and it's much easier to just get pushed onto by your competitors, and then the transfer into the orange, which is, there's a lot more orange ones, and it's a lot more imposing, but you'll find less competitors in those ones. There's a bit of a jumble in the opening, as we move on to the main show, with Serpent Speeders, Citrus Sprinters, and many others down to the White Knights.
Many others. trying to catch the championship leaders at the top of the standings, who will set themselves apart in the first funnel. This is a very important funnel to start things off. It looks like the Croissant Crew is positioning themselves well, along with the Citrus Sprinters.
Croissant Crew, the final stander in that top funnel, while the Hellclowns are the first to drop into the orange, which is the bulk of the race, so it's fine if you're falling through this early on, but the Croissant Crew, nice wide arc over the rest of their competitors, Citrus Sprinters and Serpent Speeders, or as they just come on through there, as I say that.
You can really gain a lasting advantage if you stay in those larger funnels for a longer time, and that shows with the Croissant Crew. They are still in the highest funnel. Serpent Speeders also positioning themselves well, while the White Knights and the Citrus Sprinters the opposite.
Citrus Sprinters were doing very well toward the front. Those top funnels can be good if you can hold your momentum afterwards, but Citrus Sprinters have absolutely plummeted afterwards. Grayscale's joined them, but there's many battles going on. Croissant Crew are starting to fall back, while the White Knights and Citrus Sprinters are already starting to come on through down below. They will not be moving on to the final.
So just 2 marbles left before we see who transfers. Sweet and Sours will drop on through, and the Serpent Speeders, a marble that was doing so well earlier of the course, they are not going to be moving on.
And the Croissant Crew will actually be beat at the very end by the Party Crashers Wanderer, who won our previous funnel event, the Elimination race, over, I believe, the Sweet and Sours, who are out in this round. So we might have another podium contender from the Party Crashers, but Sweet and Sours not the best funnel run here compared to their previous efforts.
Of course, Party Crashers definitely one to watch out for, winning both the previous funnel event and their heat here. Marbles are going to be fearing that marble as they head to the final.
Grayscales, Hellclowns, and the Croissant Crew will be joining them. Grayscales back on a bit of a upwards trend after the previous event, especially considering their championship history in this season, in this tournament. Green Peacocks down to the Silly Slimes in heat number 2.
So we'll see who joins the other 4 in the final. Looks like, I think that's the Moneymakers not doing too well, but then they managed to bring it back a little. We have 3, 4, 5 entries into the second final.
A very close battle up front, but Steel Force do win that out over the Green Peacocks, at least for now. There's still a whole lot of ground to make up before the teams like Marauders and Onion Union, who are falling on through. Everyone's starting to pile into the orange now as the Silly Slimes fight up into second place, while Steel Force are the last runners in those top big funnels.
So Steel Force positioning themselves very well. Meanwhile, the Marauders and Onion Union all the way at the bottom.
Steel Force have already fallen down and are now in a 3-marble pack with the Moneymakers and the Blue Brigade. Blue Brigade take the lead very briefly before falling back toward the Steel Force, who are now going to lose out to the Green Peacocks, who take the lead.
The Green Peacocks have now usurped the Steel Force, but Steel Force trying to hold on, but they didn't drop on through like 2 funnels in a row. Meanwhile, at the bottom, Marauders and Onion Union. Those 2 marbles have not been doing well, and the Marauders drop off, followed by Onion Union.
Moneymakers come on through, championship leaders, along with their runner-ups, Team Sunrise. Both of them will miss out on the final. This is a huge chance for the advancing Party Crashers. Meanwhile, look at the Green Peacocks. Masterful movement, a whole funnel ahead of the rest of the pack.
Green Peacocks trying to make a statement to perhaps the Party Crashers and the rest of the marbles in the final. But what a surprise, the top 2 in the championship knocked out in the heats. This is a big opportunity for the other teams to catch up.
Things are starting to get exciting at this point in the games. But look at the Steel Force seems to know what they're doing in those top funnels. They just pushed everyone down and held it up there. And this transfer point, you can store yourself very briefly at that little post between the 2 points. But look at these battles. The top 4, Silly Slimes, Moneymakers had a bit of a fall, along with the Blue Brigade. And look at the Marauders and Onion Unions had a terrible time. Green Peacocks had a bit of a resurgence, as now here you see the 4 that move on to the final.
Yeah, this heat really showed that if you do not get off to a good start, that could really be to your detriment, as we saw with the Onion Union and the Marauders. So you see 9th through 16th, the best of the rest goes to the host Team Sunrise. Meanwhile, White Knights and Citrus Sprinters make up the bottom 2.
And now, the final begins. The Hellclowns, Silly Slimes, Croissant Crew, Blue Brigade, Party Crashers, Green Peacocks, Grayscales, and the Steel Force, who will take the gold in this classic Tour de Endurance event.
It looks like Grayscale and Party Crashers positioning themselves well in the blue funnel. We have 4 marbles left in top funnel now, 3. Who will emerge in the lead after the first funnel?
It will be the Green Peacocks who usurp both the Grayscales and the Party Crab. Look at this. The Blue Brigade have already plummeted down 2 of the orange funnels, with many others already joining them down there. Look at the Grayscales and Green Peacocks. Massive movement in those top 2 funnels. This is going to be huge for them.
It was a great duel between those two, but the Green Peacocks still hold the lead. Meanwhile, on the other end, Hell Clowns and Blue Brigade trying to avoid last place.
Green Peacock still holding that lead over the Steel Force in 2nd place. There's the Croissant Crew in 3rd place, but there's still much of this track to go. If there's any opportunity for any of these marbles to win, the Blue Brigade and Hell Clowns, though, need some better spinning in these final few funnels of this race.
Who will drop on through first? It is the Blue Brigade in the final funnel. Then it's the Silly Slimes. Who will drop on and get 8th place? It's going to be, I think... Oh, that's the Grayscales. Grayscales just plummeted on through.
Right, I'm looking up top. The Green Peacocks have fallen all the way down to the final. They usurp Steel Force for the bronze, but that's the Croissant Crew and the Party Crashers. The final 2 remaining, silent but deadly. Who's it going to be for the final? It will be the Party Crashers. Wanderer with the 2nd gold in the final event. He's unstoppable in the funnel so far this season. Goodness me.
The Party Crashers have done it once again. They go back to back in the funnel events and have established themselves as one of the best teams in the funnels. Green Peacocks will get the bronze, Croissant Crew a hard-fought silver, but no one can beat the Party Crashers in these type of events.
Oh, I'm so upset for the Green Peacocks. Look at the lead. They had a full funnel ahead almost, and then they just started falling right there. Steel Force shoved them through, and then Steel Force also must have fallen on through, as they only could manage a 4th place here. Look at this. Steel Force just fell into that battle, and then are pushed through by the Green Peacocks. Huge battles here. Goodness gracious.
So much harder to keep leads when you're in the orange funnels, but the Party Crashers did it best. 124-26. They will stand on the podium on the top step.
I'm sure Croissant Crew and Green Peacocks are still happy to be on the podium with that hard-fought battle. Congratulations to all 3 of our podium finishers.
So as we take a look at the standings, the Party Crashers have moved up from 3rd to 1st in the standings with 2 goals along with the Moneymakers. They have usurped them by 8 points. Moneymakers to 2nd, then it's Team Sunrise in 3rd. Next event, another classic event, balancing. To kick off the second half of the 2nd season of Tour de Endurance, we saw the Party Crashers in a blockbuster finale get the lead back in the standings ahead of the Moneymakers and Team Sunrise. But we are here for balancing. Classic event once again.
The expedition teams will all be going and as one today in a group on the balancing track, but this is another one where you don't really need too much of an example for, as it is just cumulative score of where you finish on the board. As you can see, expedition team didn't do too great there.
So yeah, just a 135. We'll see how that compares to the professional competition. But we're going to go with the Onion Union to start us off, see how they do.
Onion Union have had a terrible time in the tournament so far, and they did better than the expedition team, but we are going from bottom of the standings to top of the standings, so we'll be ending with Party Crashers. But Onion Union 230, quite a bit better than Team Expedition for a provisional 1st place. Not bad at all, I'd say.
But we'll have to see how that compares to the rest of the actual teams. Serpent Speeders now had a bit of a better time lately after their terrible start, but this is going to be a good run with 2 finishers. The Serpent Speeders are surely going to take the lead.
Onion Union look much worse after that one. A 3:37 by the Serpent Speeders, a massive run as they move on to the Citrus Sprinters, who are scared to beat a 3:37 this early on in the event.
Yeah, a lot of good runs to stack up, but that's not going to work. That is going to be 3rd out of 3 runs, 126 only.
Citrus Sprinters did not live up to expectations at all there, with the White Knights at least trying to improve off of that. It's looking better, though. That seemed alright. They had one go pretty far there.
No finishers, but fairly consistent, I must say. But it's only good enough for 3rd place right now.
Now the Marauders. Team that I think these was the first team to ever get a finisher in Tour de Endurance balancing, so we'll see how they go here. It's looking very strong. Oh, I thought they had 2 for sure there, but they will get 1 confirmed to the end of the track.
Well, the Marauders, they will still take the lead. Despite only having 1 finisher, the Marauders have usurped the Serpent Speeders.
And here's our previous balancing winners, the Silly Slimes, with a 380 something in their previous run. It's going to look just as good with 2 finishes to the end for the Silly Slimes.
Teams here have came to do well in balancing, but it's not good enough. With just 2 finishers, they only get 3rd with a 331.
Now here's a team that has started to build up a bit of a run recently. Silver in the previous event, the Croissant Crew. It's not bad here either. Another 2 finishes. The teams are out here getting multiple finishes. This is crazy.
And this is putting more pressure on the rest. Despite getting 2 finishes, they don't even make the podium provisionally. But this is pressure on the rest. If they don't get finishers, they're not going to be at the top of the standings for this event. Now Steel Force.
The halfway mark team will get 3 finishes! That is a new record for Tour de Endurance, absolutely! 400 points on the dot! Jesus Christ!
Steel Force, I was mentioning the pressure that was on these teams. They took it like a duck to water. With 400 points, they have taken the lead and are provisionally going to come out of this event with a full 25 points.
Now how will the Sweet and Sours be able to follow that up? There's been some fantastic runs today, and that is, well, not one of them. That was, quite frankly, terrible.
All of them to the far side. That is 9th out of 9. I don't think that's surprising anyone. That was atrocious from the Sweet and Sours.
And the Hellclowns, please do better than that, and that is more like it. 2 finishes again, 1 pretty far. That's going to be a good score for the Hellclowns. In fact, it's good enough for 2nd place.
Despite having 2 finishers, well, I say despite, but that's the 2nd best out of anyone. They do have consistency that gets them into 2nd place. Now, Green Peacocks run 11 of 16. All of them on the board. They will only get 1 finisher, but the Green Peacocks, this, I think, is going to be a pretty good score.
And a 368 into 2nd place, another good score. They all peeled off to one side, but still a fantastic run for the Green Peacocks Grayscales. They've seen the marks they have to beat, and they could be very intimidated, or they might not be. Down the course they come, and they're going to get another 3 finishes, with 1 going much further. That's going to beat the Steel Force for sure. 479.
79 points clear of the Steel Force. The Grayscales have came to conquer this event. Blue Brigade now. How will they mark up to the Grayscale score?
I don't think you can mark up to that round, and that was almost perfection by the Grayscales. Blue Brigade, not good at all. Down in 11th place, 132 out of 13. That is not good for a team this high in the standings. Can Team Sunrise, the home team, even try to match what the Grayscales have done?
Or at least get a respectable score. That's much more likely. They will get 1 finisher, and I think the rest of the marbles did get pretty far down the beam. So, despite all of that good consistency, it's only good enough for 9th. That really goes to show the level of runs that marbles have put up here today.
Yeah, this has just been another level of competitiveness in this event. And Moneymakers, not 1 to the end. That's not going to get too far at all. 2nd place team are not going to be up toward the front after this one.
Yeah, 12th. Not good for the team that just lost the championship lead to the Party Crashers.
And speaking of the Party Crashers, here they go. The final run of the day. I don't know if they'll attack the Party Crashers, but they can sue the Grayscale, but they'll say, oh dear, 3 off early, and only 1 to the end. I don't know where that's going to get them at all.
Yes, that was very paltry, inconsistent, and it's just a 13th place from the Party Crashers. Well, that means, without a doubt, the Grayscales will get the win.
By 79 points. Steel Force and Grayscales, unprecedented results of 3 to the bottom. Grayscales nearly got 4. But them and the Green Peacocks will stand proud on the podium today in an event that was immensely competitive with all those high scores. Well done to these 3. So taking a look at the overall standings. Party Crashers only 5 points to the Grayscales, who jumped 3 into 2nd place. 2 points over the Moneymakers. It has become incredibly close toward the front. And we're about to see maybe some changes in the championship as we move on to the next event, the Hurdles. We will see you for that one. Tour de Endurance returns for Event 8 after 2 classic events of bouncing and frontal endurance for a quick and speedy and the fastest Tour de Endurance event for that matter we've ever seen, the Hurdles. Couple of small jumps and a big one right there that'll really throw the competitors off their balance. I'm again joined by Ramen for this event.
Yeah, after the last event, Party Crashers stayed in the lead, but the defending champions, the Grayscales, rising up to second place. As you see, the Expedition teams show us how it's done in hurdles.
And you can just see just how fast it is. In a split second, it is over. The Black Holes win over the Breakfast Burritos with Team Cameo and Team Third. Look at this. That big jump. It depends on where you land. If you touch the sides, you're going to get flung all over the walls as Black Holes and Breakfast Burritos completely swap sides. But now, we're going to get into the main event very shortly.
It's all about the transitions in this event with the Silly Slimes, Party Crashers, Hell Clowns, and the White Knights. And they're underway.
And the Silly Slimes win that one easily. Hell Clowns had a very slow ending, but you gotta go look at the replays here. Silly Slimes flying down the middle. Party Crashers had a good start as well, which gets them to the end in that heat. White Knights and Hell Clowns not quick enough. They'll get another replay actually.
The championship leaders, the Party Crashers, are moving on, so that's big. As we head into the later part of this tournament, Silly Slimes, good result from them, but 2.347. That is the best time to beat.
Now we got the next heat, Moneymakers, Steel Force, Croissant Crew and Serpent Speeders. Moneymakers going to try and catch those champions. They've been up there before. Will they be up there again? Serpent Speeders with the lead. And it's a very close battle across the line, but I think them and the Croissant Crew will move on here.
Yeah, those two, Croissant Crew, right here, blocking the Steel Force, and they guarantee advancement based on that move. Moneymakers not going to move on here.
You can see the Moneymakers they were all wonking all over the place in the first starting ramp. They were flying all over the walls. Jumping into other lanes is not a problem. You can still do that. But we got Heat 3 with Team Sunrise in there, the home team. What can they do here?
Well, they go completely to the side, but then right, and then they completely go the opposite direction and somehow get the win. How did they do that?
I understand why you're surprised, Drummer. Let's have a look at Team Sunrise here. Look, I think they jump into Onion Union's lane, which slowed them down. Then they just jump off all over the walls. But Onion Union, despite that block, are still able to get second. They're very far down there. They need a good result. So Onion Union getting through there is very important to get up in those standings.
Nice recovery from Onion Union. I'm still astounded by by Team Sunrise as they go into the final heat.
And the Sweet and Sours win that one quite easily. Some missing graphics there, but that's not going to be help. Grayscales win it. Sweet and Sour... Actually, no, they don't, sorry. Sweet and Sours win it. Green Peacocks get a solid second, with Grayscales missing out. So their chase to the Party Crashers is going to be severely dampened by this event.
Meanwhile, the Citrus Sprinters, they don't even make it all the way to the finish line. They're going to get a DNF. That is going to be last place for them.
On that last hurdle, just stuck right there. See, here's the Steel Force. Take 9th place, Moneymakers 10th, and Grayscales 11th. So some of those chases are still toward the front of the bottom standings, but Citrus Sprinters' terrible run as we move on to the semi-finals.
Team Sunrise, Silly Slimes, Green Peacocks, and the Croissant Crew. Who moves on to the finals? Croissant Crew, great getaway, and Team Sunrise is going to move on here. The home team may be potentially getting another medal or a gold.
Green Peacocks there again. Green Peacocks could have moved. Look at all the shaking and the starting hurdles. Those, if you do that well, the rest of the run will go pretty well for you as well, provided you stay off the walls. Green Peacocks rocketed off that side wall, and that gets Eclair and Beams into the final. Serpent Speeders, Onion Union, Party Crashers, and Sweet and Sours. Which of these will join them?
Of course, everyone watching the Party Crashers as the championship leaders. Are they going to move on here? Yes, they do. They get the win in the semi-final. And I think it was the Serpent Speeders that are also moving on with them.
That Party Crashers came after that at such a speed they launched over the green catch basin and past the podium, while Sweet and Sours just barely could not keep up with the Serpent Speeders, who almost jumped over the wall there. Unfortunate, but Serpent Speeders, another team that is low down there, so a big medal here could be very good for them, as we see Sweet and Sours will take 5th place in this one.
So some of the other teams knocked out earlier on in the event, they can only watch and hope the other teams don't let the Party Crashers come away with gold. But here we are in the final. Croissant Crew, Serpent Speeders, and Team Sunrise. Who will best the Party Crashers, if any? It's going to be the Serpent Speeders that get the win in hurdles.
And the Croissant Crew too. Both those teams will beat the Party Crashers, but the Serpent Speeders, a massive gold in a poor campaign for this tournament, is going to rock them up the standings. Hopefully, look at this. Smooth out of that first section. Team Sunrise had a terrible time, but the Croissant Crew only just fending off the Party Crashers for that silver medal, and they will suffer for a bronze here. Well, that is still going to get them into a pretty good lead, but Serpent Speeders, massive win for that team.
And Team Sunrise, the home team, almost a second off the bronze medal model. That is disappointing for the home crowd, but it's still a good result for the home team. Now as we take a look at the standings, with the bronze, Party Crashers stretch their lead out of broken 100 points. Team Sunrise rise up to second place with the fourth place in this event, and Grayscales drop to third. The next event will be another classic, Distance Drag, returning from Season 1. Entering the home stretch in the second season of Tour de Endurance is the ninth event, the Distance Drag. But this isn't any event, of course. It's the event that Team Sunrise, the home team, claimed gold in last season, and they're hoping to repeat that this season for their fans.
Of course, this was the only medal for Team Sunrise, a massive gold in Season 1. And this is the event that I'm sure everyone's come out to see, because this is the event Team Sunrise have the most history with. It was a blockbuster event in Season 1 with multiple photo finishes. As the expedition team, same four from the last event, are going to show us how it's done. Onto that massive carpet plane.
Of course, it doesn't really matter when you drop down, it matters how far you go on the run. And it looks like Breakfast Fritos, they're not going to have good distance.
Now you see, you could go later, but if you go later you risk bumping into your previous competitors, and that is, you want to go around them, which is not putting distance forwards. But as we see the first competitors, including the championship leaders, the Party Crashers.
So of course, top two move on to the semi-finals. So you want to get into that top two and hopefully get down as far as possible to prevent bumping into some of your competitors. Party Crashers, the championship leaders, they're going to come down last, but it doesn't matter. They will get second place in this heat.
The Silly Slimes and the Blue Brigade went out very far to the side. Just look at this. It gave the Party Crashers a free opening through the middle as the Serpent Speeders just smash all of them after a big win in the previous event. They're looking to push that forwards momentum forward even more into perhaps another medal in a row for the Serpent Speeders as we go into the next one. Sweet and Sour's, Hell Clowns, Croissant Crew, and the Grayscales.
Of course, we saw in that previous heat, if you're going sideways, you're not going forwards and losing distance. That's actually being measured forwards. As you see the Sweet and Sours go down first, huge bump from the Hell Clowns, and what happened there to the Grayscales just completely fell apart.
I think what happened there is the Grayscales, if we have to look at the replay, but the Sweet and Sours were kind of pushed through, and then the Hell Clowns make a massive bump. Let's look here. The Grayscales actually fell off the ramp halfway down, and they only went about like a solid 20 centimeters, which compared to the 90s, no, 48, sorry, I was a bit low, but compared to the 90s that the others put down, the Grayscales are not happy with that at all.
That is surely going to be last, unless something horrible happens to one of these other teams. Marauders, White Knights, Green Peacocks, and the Moneymakers in the next heat now.
Marauders taking the slow route here as the Green Peacocks come down first, which is going to get them a free plane. White Knights cannot meet them. Here come the Moneymakers, who go straight past, and the Marauders cannot even touch the back of the White Knights. Green Peacocks and Moneymakers will move on here.
So we really saw that the earlier we went in this heat, the better. Marauders, despite being blocked by the other two marbles, they couldn't even get past. Even if they weren't in the way, they wouldn't have advanced. But the Green Peacocks and the Moneymakers with Shen and Coin are going to be moving on.
Now the final heat, we got the Steel Force, Citrus Sprinters, Team Sunrise. There's the home team and Onion Union. Crowd come out to see Team Sunrise here today in the Team Sunrise event. We'll see how they go.
And they go out first, but fairly decent. We'll have to see what happens when the rest of them come down. Onion Union, they don't beat them. Will the Steel Force beat them? Oh, it's very close, but Citrus Sprinters won't, and Team Sunrise is guaranteed advancement.
Citrus Sprinters, unfortunate, they just couldn't. I think that they may have bumped. We'll have to see how Citrus Sprinters did, but Steel Force bump into Team Sunrise. That's pretty much neck and neck between them. Citrus Sprinters cannot muster up enough energy to push past. And the Steel Force beat them by 0.2 centimeters over Team Sunrise, but they will both move on to the semi-finals.
So Citrus Sprinters, if they had beaten them, Team Sunrise wouldn't have advanced, but nonetheless, they do not. They will get 12th place. Grayscales, unsurprisingly, get last.
We've got the Serpent Speeders, Sweet and Sours, Green Peacocks, and Team Sunrise in the next round, into the semi-finals now. Team Sunrise looking to go through first again, but many others join them, but they will still push themselves down onto the plane first.
Oh, very far to the left, and they get beaten by the Green Peacocks. Bit of revenge from last season. Sweet and Sours don't beat either of them. How will the Serpent Speeders do? They give a bump to the Green Peacocks, but I think Team Sunrise, the home team, are still going to be moving on.
Are they? It looks pretty close to me. I can't really tell between Serpent Speeders and Team Sunrise from that one angle, but Green Peacocks will push themselves through pretty strongly here. Between them, though, okay, no, from that angle it looks like a Team Sunrise, and it is, again, by 0.2 over the Serpent Speeders. Team Sunrise have been cutting it close in these first 2 rounds, just like in Season 1, though. We'll see how it goes in the final.
Hell Clowns, Moneymakers, Steel Force, and Party Crashers. In the second semi-final, Party Crashers, hoping to extend that championship lead, will be able to. They don't drop down first as the Moneymakers, then it's the Steel Force go past. Party Crashers go past Moneymakers too, and the Hell Clowns won't get past.
Moneymakers, look at this, just pushed everyone out of the way. Wanted to get down there first, but they were focused so much on getting through first that they didn't focus on launching out onto the plane. That gets Steel Force and Party Crashers just right around them. Hellclowns did not have a great run at all the way back there in 4th. While Steel Force and Party Crashers, lower scores than what we're used to, are also onto the final.
And once again, the Party Crashers make it to a final. How many points can they get over the rest of the challengers? We'll have to see in the final with the Steel Force, Green Peacocks, and Team Sunrise.
The crowd gone crazy for Team Sunrise here. They made it to the final again for distance drag, but Party Crashers looking to go through first, and they will, rocketing out onto the field, but Team Sunrise joined them, and they've surpassed them.
Steel Force, they will not be either of them. What can the Green Peacocks say? The team that has gone challenged in this event last season, they will not. And Team Sunrise, the home team, victorious for a second year in the distance drag.
And I think the Green Peacocks will sneak in there for second place over the Party Crashers, which means Party Crashers a third bronze. Oh, no, sorry, second bronze, but that's a second bronze in a row. Another medal for the Party Crashers, while Green Peacocks, look at this. That rollback could have costed them a silver, but nope, it is good enough, again, by about 0.6. But Team of Sunrise, only one to crack 100 in the final. A massive win again in the distance drag. This is just their event.
Oh, and you can tell that if we ever come back here to Team Sunrise hosting Tour de Honduras, this event will be there. Distance drag is their event. It has been kind for them for 2 straight seasons in a row. But congratulations to the Green Peacocks and the Party Crashers for making the podium.
Now let's see what the Party Crashers lead is. Only 4 points over Team Sunrise. With that gold, they've gone up and they stay in second place. Green Peacocks jump into third, 15 points behind. Party Crashers have not made this a win for them yet. As we go into Rocky Road, will they start to be challenged? The event that has been delayed many times in the past in Season 1 now comes to see in Season 2 with the Rocky Road, brought to you by Team Sunrise, who are now only 4 points behind the leading Party Crashers. This event, a jumble mess as they charge down this really bumpy terrain to get to that finish line right there, and there are many marbles will get stuck along the way.
So 2 heats of 8 marbles, while we see the other 8 and the other heat, top 4 will advance to the final.
And we're off in this one here. The Green Peacocks are off to a roaring start here, but many teams, it could all go wrong for anyone as this race goes along. Here come the Croissant crew on the leading Grayscales who blast right past. Many others, I just saw the Citrus Sprinters have a bit of a crash, and I don't see them anymore. I think they may have stopped. Here come the Marauders. To the end, they're going to win the race.
Marauders, great burst of speed at the end. Oh, we have a lot of stoppages. That's the Green Peacocks stuck there. I think Grayscales were stuck, but they've got dislodged, and they're slowing to a crawl, trying to beat the Hell Clowns, I think that is.
Yes, these last ones are going to be a much of a call. The Grayscales stall at the line. The Serpent Speeders go around them about a centimetre from the end. The Grayscales just come to an absolute standstill. I'm not sure whether to count that, but I think timing and throwing are going to give that to the Serpent Speeders due to that stoppage not at the line. But you can just see all the obstacles they have to avoid. They're bouncing everywhere. There are many spots where you can get stuck on this track.
You see the Croissant crew and the Grayscales dueling there. Grayscales just have a bad balance, and here they are slowing down while the other 2 marbles just get by, but the Grayscales, they were so close to moving on, and they're not going to be.
Look at this again. Just there's a little thing right there, and that gives the Serpent Speeders advantage to the next round. That is so unfortunate for the Grayscales. Let's see who got stuck. There's the Green Peacocks dislodged in there, and you can see Team Sunrise and the Citrus Sprinters all the way back there as well. Now we move on to heat number 2.
We need to master this terrain in order to do well in the event, as we have the championship leaders, the Party Crashers, but they're starting all the way in the back. Meanwhile, it's the Silly Slimes in the lead. Is that the Blue Brigade in second place?
There's an absolute... Well, the Silly Slimes rocketed down this track. They've already finished, I'm pretty sure. Look at the... If you keep your speed all the way down, you should be able to advance. But as we saw with the Grayscales and the Hellclowns, your speed will go down to a crawl. Here come the Party Crashers. They're still going.
Party Crashers living up to their name, crashing the party that was just stuck over there. I don't know if they're still going, but here's the Moneymakers finishing. Then the Blue Brigade. Is that the Party Crashers moving? And will they get advancement? I think they will. Look at this. They're the only one moving.
Yeah.
And I think...
Yeah, no one else is ahead of those Party Crashers, so they're going to advance there. Let's see where everyone else went wrong here, Raman.
Yeah, look at this. I think a whole bunch just got stuck in the same place. I'll have to see if we get a replay of that.
Mostly it's just a start now. I see the White Knights bumped off the Moneymakers there, who I'm pretty sure moved. Look at the Silly Slimes though, just avoided every obstacle. There's a big pile up right there with Ununion, Steel Force, and Sweet and Sour that the Party Crashers bumped into. Only for Ununion to get stuck immediately afterwards. Oh dear.
I don't know if that was tactical. The Party Crashers, they bumped into them, but only one of them got dislodged, and then Onion Union, they couldn't even get going again. So the Party Crashers, Blue Brigade, Moneymakers, and of course the Silly Slimes are going to be moving on.
There you see those ordered based off where they stopped on the track. Grayscales, of course, right at the end, they'll get 9th place. But now you move on to the final. Hellclowns to the Serpent Speeders, who will get gold in this one.
And we're underway in the final. Moneymakers come out to the lead. Is that the Blue Brigade? And Serpent Speeders take the lead from them.
The Serpent Speeders bump off the Party Crashers. They had it all free, but they crash off to the side. The Party Crashers with the lead, but they bump off multiple things. Blue Brigade and the Croissant Crew with more momentum push themselves past, and they will win this event. With the Blue Brigade crawling for what looks like an easy 2nd place here.
Oh, but who's going to get 3rd place? It's between the Marauders and the Moneymakers. Who's going to get it? It's very close between them.
But they're both crawling their way down. I think the Moneymakers don't have enough speed to catch up. But the Marauders are slowing down a bit, but I think this might be it. The Marauders crawling across the line for 3rd place.
Moneymakers just picked up the line as you take a look at this crazy final. What happened to the Serpent Speeders? They had a huge lead, then completely blew it upon the contact with the Party Crashers.
I think that bump with the Party Crashers might have been it. Like, look, they bump. Now they're just going a bit too fast. They bump off of a little crack in the road and just fly into the grass, and that is the game for the Serpent Speeders. There's the Hellclowns could have had to go there, but they just stop on an obstacle, and the Croissant Crew just a little bit more speed from the rest of the track around the Blue Brigade to capture victory.
Croissant Crew just stayed out of trouble and navigated past everything beautifully en route to a gold medal in the Rocky Road. Very well done to them, as we see the Party Crashers stuck there, only 5th place for the championship leaders.
But 5th place is still going to go pretty well when the Team Sunrise, the team that was chasing them, is all the way down in 13th place. That is unfortunate, especially considering that it's now going to be a much bigger gap to the Party Crashers, but well done to the winners.
Right, after event 10, Party Crasher, they stretch their lead, but Team Sunrise, Green Peacocks, and Moneymakers stay in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th respectively. Croissant Crew jump up to 5th with that gold medal. The next event, the penultimate event of Tour de Endurance, will be Jousting. A test of strength, test of resilience, and a test of teamwork. In the penultimate event of Tour de Endurance, it's the Jousting event. After the Rocky Road, Party Crashers stretched their lead over Team Sunrise, the hosts, and Green Peacocks in 3rd place.
As you can see here, this one is another edition of block bumping, but this time it's against one another, with the Croissant Crew and the Hellclowns can be the first 2 out of the gate to show us how it's done. Croissant Crew with a massive gold in the last event.
Croissant Crew, they'll hopefully use that good momentum for them to do well here, but they have a deficit to the Hellclowns, and they're going to lose out to the Hellclowns as the later marbles drop down.
As you can see, if you look, the first push is one of the most important pushes, as it can give you a massive advantage if you come down quickly, as you get a massive punch against the block. Whoever does push it further into the other team's lane gets the win. We've got Green Peacocks and Serpent Speeders up next.
What's equally important is with marbles' positions after they hit the block. Because if you're in the way of your teammates, that is not going to be good. As the Green Peacocks easily gets the win over the Serpent Speeders here.
They stayed against the block. They pushed each other hard. It was a very strong performance by the Green Peacocks. The Serpent Speeders, no matter how hard they tried, they were not coming back from that one, I don't think, Raman. That was easy for the Green Peacocks.
Yeah, almost too flat, actually slightly better than that. As we see the Moneymakers and Grayscales, of course, Moneymakers, like the Green Peacocks, one of the teams trying to give chase to the Party Crashers. They need a good event here to be able to stay in contention.
But that's not going to happen. The Grayscales, another big win in these heats rounds, are going to get... Look at those massive pushes. The Moneymakers, again, not coming back from that. They do better than the Serpent Speeders in terms of coming back, but still not good enough to get anywhere close to the quarterfinals.
Now, Sweet and Sours and the Onion Union in the fourth heat. Ooh, two marbles coming almost at the same time from each side. But Sweet and Sours, much better launch, and they're going to get the win of the Onion Union.
Sweet and Sours seem to have better secondaries. The Onion Union brought down 2 pretty quickly, but Sweet and Sours, big pushes from 2 and 3 in tandem with one another. That's going to get them into the quarterfinals as we move on to Team Sunrise, the hosts versus Steel Force.
Both the hosts have had very strong performance in the 2 goals, but Steel Force, underrated team, I have to say, in this tournament, and they're currently beating Sunrise. Can Team Sunrise catch up? I don't think they will be able to, and Steel Force will get the win.
Steel Force, again, those 2 early ones, Team Sunrise just could not come back. 0.48 in the difference to Team Sunrise. Again, cannot be chasing the Party Crashers with these low runs. White Knights and Silly Slimes are up next.
White Knights and Silly Slimes, 2 teams that haven't had too much success in this tournament right now. Silly Slimes, overall strong previously. Can they get the edge? It's very close right now. And that last marble for the Silly Slimes will push them over the edge.
I think that was the Captain Slime with that one, pushing the team. They all stayed against the block. White Knights, I think, were far away, and that did not help. Look, they were all bumped away by the 3rd marble, and then they gave a massive push by the 4th one. If marbles are on the other side, that makes your push less, as Marauders and Citrus Sprinters go next.
You can clearly see the strategy was on the side of Silly Slimes in the last seat. As you see this one, it is the Citrus Sprinters slightly ahead. Can the Marauders kite back? It's very close, but the Citrus Sprinters, by a hair, will get the win.
You can just see the Marauders here could have brought it back, but they kept pulling themselves away from the block, and that made their teammates not able to hit it as fast. Look, that 4th one could have punted it across the line into the quarterfinals, but they just, look at this. They just could not do it because they were pointing themselves away from the block.
Now, in the final heat, Blue Brigade and the Party Crashers. A lot of the heat teams hoping that the Blue Brigade wins, but the block going out of the track a bit. But the Blue Brigade will make an upset victory over the Party Crashers.
The Blue Brigade almost pushed the block out of the track there. They were so strong. 0.98, but importantly, the Party Crashers are out. They're going to get a very low score here. Let's see where it is. They're all the way down in 14th place.
The Party Crashers coming into this event, they could have clinched the championship with a good result here, but with 14th place, this opens the door for a lot of other teams, including the Green Peacocks in quarterfinal A.
Let's see how they can do against the Hell Clans. Oh, they push the Hell Clans far away, giving them a bit of an advantage, but the Hell Clans still have enough time to come back, and they do! They push it over the line, and the Green Peacocks are eliminated, pushing their chances against the Party Crashers lower.
And the Green Peacocks, this is heartbreak for them for being oh so close, but the Hell Clowns are on their way to the semifinals en route to potentially another medal. They've only got 1, I think, this season.
Alright, Grayscales and Sweet and Sours. None of these teams are too close to the front, but Grayscales, the defending champions, could do with some good finishes. A dead heat in the first 2 marbles.
Grayscales, of course, they're never to be counted out as dark horses in Tour de Honduras, of course, but I think they're not going to be able to get the win over the Sweet and Sours.
Sweet and Sours just slowly but surely pushed it over. That push right there, just over, and the Grayscales were too far away from the block, and that is clearly the key to losing here. If you do that, you're going to fall behind as Steel Force and Silly Slimes come next.
Now, very quick entries from both teams, but Steel Force have the block slightly better for them. It's very close because the Silly Slimes come back, and the Silly Slimes, again with the latecomer, to push the block across the line, and they are moving on to the semi-finals.
Yeah, I knew it was over for Steel Force once all of them had come down. It was dead even in the middle, but the Silly Slimes just had to lightly tap it, and it was in their favor. 0.09 the difference. Silly Slimes are onto the semi-finals. Citrus Sprinters and the Blue Brigade for the final quarterfinal.
Blue Brigade, they pulled upset against the Party Crashers. Once again, the block coming out of the track, but I think the Blue Brigade have this easily tied up.
The Blue Brigade are so amazingly strong. They're always pushing the block out of the track on multiple occasions now. And that, look at that, a 2-3 wham bam thank you ma'am from the Blue Brigade gets them all the way to 0.52 and beat the Citrus Sprinters quite easily.
As we see 5th through 8th Steel Force, Green Peacocks, Grey Scales, and the Citrus Sprinters. As we see Silly Slimes, Hell Clowns, Blue Brigade, and Sweet and Sours. Only one of those will not get a medal in Jousting.
We're going to find out one of those who it won't be. And the block completely flips from the strength. And that actually, Sweet and Sours come down and combo the block forward. And that is going to be a win. Only just for the Sweet and Sours. Hellclowns almost brought it back.
The Chaos, I think, completely confused the Hellclowns. They're not able to react at all. And by 0.27, once the Hellclowns realized what they were doing, it was too late for them.
The Slimes in the Blue Brigade. Who's going to go to the final with the Sweet and Sours? It's a dead 8 heat out of the gate, but the Blue Brigade are coming down quickly, and that's going to get them the win here, I think. Oh, Silly Slime's too far away from the block. That's going to be it for them. Into the bronze medal match they go.
Yeah, no upset from the last Silly Slime this time. The Blue Brigade is simply too strong in this event. They are definitely one of the favorites to take the gold medal here.
Well, there's only 2 options to take the medal at this point around. It's between them and the Sweet and Sours, but first we got the Hellclowns and the Silly Slimes for the bronze medal match.
Hellclowns. Oh, very strong push. Silly Slimes, they need a masterful push to get the bronze here. I don't think it's going to happen. The Hellclowns will win bronze.
Look at this first push. Pretty much an entire block for the Hellclowns there against Silly Slimes. They just kept pushing them away from the block, through the block. It was great. 1.52. Big win for the Hellclowns. Not only they could have done that in the semifinals.
But now, for the final, we have the Blue Brigade on one side, and it's the Sweet and Sours on the other. Who will claim the gold in Jousting?
Well, we're about to find out. The tension is rising in this final here. Sweet and Sours and the Blue Brigade. This is one of the final golds you can get. Who's going to get it? They come out. It's a dead heat out of the gate.
Blue Brigade slightly on their side. They seem to have been the stronger team thus far. And as a result, Blue Brigade will win the gold in Jousting.
Sweet and Sours had that initial push, but the Blue Brigade just came out quicker and pushed it with more combos. And the stronger pushes are one difference almost exactly for the Blue Brigade. They capture the gold in spectacular fashion in the Jousting event.
Sweet and Sours, though, they will be happy with the silver, their second of the season, and the Hellclowns, another medal in third.
Silly Slime's disappointed to be in 4th, but they have had some unfortunate runs here, so I'm sure they're happy to still be in 4th place. So now take a look at the standings going into the final event. 5 teams can still win it. Party Crashers down to the Moneymakers, but Moneymakers will need a good run, and down to the Hellclowns can get on the podium as we go. But first, we're going to take a quick detour to look at the showdown with those teams that are unfortunate enough to not qualify for this season. And it all comes down to this. The team final pursuit of Tour de Endurance Season 2. The grand finale. Party Crashers through to the Moneymakers can still win the tournament on the biggest funnel tower Tour de Endurance has ever seen and likely will ever see. These 4 heats, with one championship contender at least in each one, will take on this big final battle of an already blockbuster season.
Now, coming into this event, the Party Crashers 135 point and the championship lead. They have the driver's seat to take this championship, but the other 4 teams are not going to let it up without a fight. As we see Expedition examples here to show how this event works. All 4 marbles from each of the 4 teams are going to be participating in each heat, and it's about how they're ranked in terms of their placement when they reach the bottom. More your marbles are ahead of the previous ones, they will get points for their teams. The top 2 will advance to the semi-finals. Top 2 from the semi-finals will advance to the finals.
So of course it'll be 16 points for first place, 15 points for second, and so on until it's 1 point for last. And as you can see, as that Team Cameo member just did, it is very possible to fall off this track, and that will give you, well, last place. You could finish. A marble could finish, and then you could DNF afterwards. Look at that. You can also fall off the foundation into that green funnel. It acts as a catch basin for those that fall off higher up, but it will absolutely ruin your chances of a good result. Falling off there doesn't matter. As long as you come through the funnel, your points will count.
And of course, this event, an all-out brawl from the translucent funnels at the top to the orange funnels here and to this large, amazing green funnel here to kick off the ending of the Tour de Endurance Season 2. This funnel here will crown a champion.
That is very scary to think about. That is one massive funnel, the biggest funnel we'll likely ever see from Tour de Endurance. Let's have a look at this again. The Flash Fires, Breakfast Burritos, Sky Dragons, and Team Cameo. As you can see, Team Cameo had one fall off the track completely, two, another one that just jumped off the track, and Flash Fires had a DNF well over there. I think Breakfast Burritos had one jump out right here. That still counted for their points. We'll have to see who won. Sky Dragons had all theirs finished, and as a result, they would get the best. Breakfast Burritos, 15-14, despite the tie, they would beat the Flash Fires in that case, if there is a tie. So, great example, shows all the possibilities of this event as we go to the first battle with the Blue Brigade and the Moneymakers. Two championship contenders in this one.
Now, both of those championship contenders, they are 4th and 5th. They have to advance if they want to keep their championship alive. If they don't advance, it doesn't matter what the rest of the teams do. They will not win Tour de Endurance. As we see, I think the Silly Slimes have a couple up there. Oh no, that's one of the Moneymakers. But you can clearly see how much of a brawl it is. It is absolute chaos in these upper funnels.
In these first two funnels, it is very hard to tell what's going on. Once we enter those orange ones, you start to see which teams have a better advantage. And I see multiple of the Marauders are not having a great time. They're plummeting down the field. You can see those dark black marbles having a horrid time. A couple of the Blue Brigade, multiple Moneymakers, those two teams doing what they can in these early stages of the race to confirm or at least get their best possible chances of advancing, while Silly Slimes and Marauders plummet on down the track.
They had two Blue Brigade marbles and then two Moneymakers marbles rotating in tandem, trying to work together to get advancement here and keep their championship alive. We have one of each of the teams up there, while 3 of the Marauders are already in the big green funnel.
There are a couple of the Moneymakers down there as well, but they're doing alright to keep themselves up. Silly Slimes have a couple. This is the first Blue Brigade to enter, while multiple Marauders are already crossing the line. They got bottom 2 in that one. There's a Moneymaker for the first time. But the other Moneymakers are holding their own in that bottom funnel. This is going to be, I think, Blue Brigade and Moneymakers based on the other finishes. Silly Slimes are all done. Marauders only have one on the track still. I think the two championship contenders are looking very good here.
Yeah, the Marauders never really were in it, and the Silly Slimes also kind of fell apart. So this opens the door for the 4th and 5th place teams in the championship, trying to get some good points here. As we can see, one of Moneymaker and one Blue Brigade marble here in the final funnel. Kind of a celebratory, rotating fun in the final funnel here, because I think both of these teams know they're going to be advancing.
Bit of a, yeah, this is definitely a celebratory. They both know that they're moving on. They have a chance of victory here with Moneymakers. I don't know, what are they? They're just holding their own at this point. They're showing off to the other two teams that that's why they're a championship contender as those two. But those top runs, I think they should be moving on. Let's have a look. Yeah, see both old Moneymakers and Blue Brigade in the top 4 with multiple other good results. I think I know who's moving on in this one.
You know, I was speaking to the Moneymakers earlier before this event. They won the first event of the season. They would love to get a win in this final event to seal their championship, but they and the Blue Brigade are still in it after the first heat.
Now the Moneymakers may be confident, but they are also 23 points behind the Party Crashers, meaning that the Party Crashers have to fail to advance and get a very low score for the Moneymakers to have any chance of winning. As we move on to the next heat, and there you see the other team that can win, the Team Sunrise, the home team. This is the big team that can win it. Let's see how they can do with the 7 Speeders, White Knights, and the Croissant Crew in this one.
The fans have come out to see their team in 2nd place in the championship out here now to potentially win it all in front of their home fans. But they have 3, is that 3 or that's some of the Croissant Crew up there with them? It's hard to tell as we see more of the White Knights and the Serpent Speeders dropping down into the orange funnels.
Croissant Crew have multiple in that top funnel. Well, I think there's 2 Croissant Crew compared to one of those other 2. 7 Speeders not having a great run at the start here, but the Croissant Crew trying to get those first 2 as far away as they can from the rest of the pack. And there's another one, that top orange funnel, but he falls on through as I say that. White Knights, pretty spread out. Everyone's rather spread out here, but Team Sunrise, the only team who's not spread out, they're all spread out toward the bottom funnels. They're not doing too hot in these first stages of the race.
Now we saw the championship contenders in the first heat doing well. That's not being mimicked by the home team right now, as we have several dropping down into the final funnel almost.
There you see all the last, or there are 3 Team Sunrise already in that last green funnel, with the 4th one coming on through as we speak. This is not looking good for Team Sunrise. They'll need a massive push in this final funnel. It is possible. It's a large funnel. It could go wrong, but one comes through there. All the other 3 are losing momentum rapidly. Well, look at the gaps up to the rest of the field. Team Sunrise, it's all sapping away. There's only one left on the track. This is just dreadful to watch.
Oh, and the home fans are not gonna like this. As you can see, multiple of each of the other teams, each of the other members are still up there. And I think it's championship over for Team Sunrise.
2 Serpent Speeders, 2 White Knights, and 2 Croissant Crew all beat the Team Sunrise. That is very unfortunate. Serpent Speeders will get 2 in the top 4 at least. With the White Knights and Croissant Crew, I think, yeah, that Serpent Speeders gone dueling for that win. It could be very important for advancement. Croissant Crew bumped the White Knights, and a duel ensues with the White Knights winning it out. That's a very good movement by the White Knights to get the win there.
You can clearly see the strategies at play in that final big green funnel. This is the first time these marbles are exposed to it in professional competition, but you can clearly see they have trained hard to master it. Milk from the White Knights gets the win. Does that get them advancement with the other marbles fairly down? We'll have to see.
Between Croissant Crew and Serpent Speeders, it is very close for them and the White Knights, but I think we can all sadly say Team Sunrise in their own tournament are gone from the championship, but between these three, we'll get to see the results end by 3 points. The White Knights will beat the Croissant Crew to move on to the semi-finals with the Serpent Speeders, but Team Sunrise, the fans are not happy about that one at all.
Yeah, heartbreaking for them, and we are down to just 4 teams that can win the championship, and we have the leader of them all, Party Crashers, here. If they advance, it could be a lot of trouble for the other teams, but Onion Union, Steel Force, and Hell Clowns trying to spoil the party here.
I see Onion Union have not had a very good run in this tournament. They're hoping to get a good finish, as they would. Steel Force are doing alright at the top, with Onion Union, in fact, one of their members taking the lead, but multiple Hellclowns having a terrible time. In fact, all 4 of them are already into the orange funnels. A very bad start. Meanwhile, look at this. 3 Steel Force and 2 Onion Union already at the top. Party Crashers are doing nothing to combat these team efforts.
The Party Crashers, some of the other teams willing the other teams in this heat on to knock out the Party Crashers. Party Crashers, they really want to resurface. They've done well, especially Wanderer, in the funnel events before, but can they work together as a team to do it when it counts?
I forgot about Wanderer. Wanderers are the only one who's done the funnel event, so these other 3 might be rather inexperienced in the funnels, but Steel Force is the first one to go into the big green funnel down there, but there are multiple still piling on through down in that bottom one now. It's starting to become a train wreck down below, but 3 Steel Force, it's top 3 for Steel Force very briefly there before they're pushed on through by the Party Crashers.
There's multiple Onion Union, multiple Hellcon, multiple Steel Force, all of them down in the bottom funnel. But a Party Crasher, I think, was that finished first?
That's not very good for the Party Crasher. There are still 2 going on the track. They're holding out as best they can, and they're doing pretty good as well. The Steel Force and Onion Union fending them off. The Party Crashers will get 2 in the top 5, but not the 3 that matter. Onion Union, Steel Force, and the Hellclans. These 3 have done pretty much the bare minimum to try and get through, but I don't know if they did. It is very close between all of them. But let's have a look at who finished. I don't see a member of the Steel Force or Onion Union. I think 2 of them crashed.
That could be big to get the Party Crashers advancement. That 3rd Onion Union marble, Calco, they managed to hold out ahead of both the other 2 Party Crashers, but I don't know if it was enough. We'll have to see.
You look, there's Onion Union. He just crashed. He crashed in the final orange funnel, and look at there. Steel Force, one came through the penultimate one and never appeared again in the last one. Steel Force and Onion Union crashed in that same funnel, and that's the difference. Party Crashers move on, both of them by a single point. Dearie me, that is massive. Those DNFs costed them advancement, and the Party Crashers championship possibility just massively increased.
And the other teams in championship contention, they're not all knocked out yet, but still very difficult, much more difficult for them now than if the Party Crashers would have not advanced, and they wouldn't have were it not for those DNFs.
Green Peacocks are now under the most pressure possible. They've just seen the Party Crashers advance in the closest way possible. They did the bare minimum to advance, I think, but the Green Peacocks are under the most pressure possible. With the Grayscales, Sweet and Sours, and Citrus Sprinters trying to either take them down or maybe give them some advancement, maybe give them some salary here to get them through to the final.
The Green Peacocks, they've seen the Party Crashers do it, but they've also seen both teams from the first heat advance, and they've seen teams from Team Sunrise that didn't advance. So which one will they mimic? It will be one of them if they do advance or if they don't. But I think the Green Peacocks, they are having 2 good marbles in one of the highest orange funnels there. That is looking good for them as they hope to continue this fine form.
Oh, it's all gone wrong. The Green Peacock, as Ramen stops speaking, Green Peacock comes off the track. They have crashed completely. I also noticed one of the Grayscales came off earlier. There's only 2 on the track left. No, sorry, 3 on the track left. My mistake. But one of them is winning, so they could still bring it back. And all the Green Peacocks that are still running are still in the orange funnel. So a DNF does not spell doom. It just makes things a bit harder for you to advance. As you can see, they're starting to
Three.
pile them through.
3 of the Citrus Sprinters down in the bottom funnel, as well as multiple of the Grayscales and the Sweet and Sours. Despite that DNF, could the Green Peacocks, they're 2 marbles in the orange funnels, setting themselves up well, but I don't know, it's going to be very close as one of the Grayscales just plummets on through.
That's the second Grayscale to crash. That gives Green Peacocks a massive chance. 2 DNFs for the Grayscales, and not great results by the Citrus Sprinters and the Sweet and Sours, with 2 Green Peacocks still in this funnel. If they can fend them both off, it's looking good for them. It's down to 2v1 with the Citrus Sprinters.
Of course, the teamwork element really coming in here. Will it work for them? No, one of them will fall on through, but the Citrus Sprinter is not able to beat the second one, and the Green Peacocks will get the best individual marble. Now, will that be enough for advancement?
And there you see the first crash for the Grayscales, just plummets off the foundation of the track. Meanwhile, the Green Peacocks, look at this, just plunges off the ramp into the abyss below, and then rolls away in shame. But the other 3 competitors did so well. I think Green Peacocks will sneak their way through, despite the pressure and that massive mistake by one of their members. Meanwhile, look at the Grayscale, jumps off the one funnel into the next one. That's going to spell doom for the Grayscales. Only 16 points, but 1 point for the Citrus Sprinters over the Sweet and Sours. They'll join, of course, the Green Peacocks in the semi-finals.
And that means comfortably we will still have 4 teams in championship contention. As the Sweet and Sours do Sweet and Sours to the Grayscales, the best of the rest in that order.
Now, actually, Ramen, Moneymakers can no longer win. With the Party Crashers advancement, Moneymakers are gone. They can no longer win. They can still contest for a podium, but their point gap to the Party Crashers is too big where they can no longer win from just through the semi-finals. But the Blue Brigade can still win through the semi-finals, and they are in this group with the Hell Clowns, Citrus Sprinters, and the White Knights. So, they can still do a good run here, provided things go well. But they have quite a battle to do here. It's a massive pack at the start.
We have a Citrus Sprinter and a White Knight in the top funnel. Now just a White Knight, but 3 of the Blue Brigades? Now all of them in that one orange funnel. It is not looking good for one of the only championship contenders left.
Meanwhile, in complete opposite standings, the Hell Clowns had 4 in the top funnel. They were doing very well. They're still doing quite strong. White Knights take the lead with multiple Hell Clowns doing good, but Blue Brigade, 3 of them in that bottom funnel in a massive pack. Blue Brigade need to start pulling things back and quickly, or else they're going to be out of contention very soon.
The Blue Brigade, this is not looking good. They really need to come in clutch in these orange funnels. That green funnel is a big wild card when you're up in there, but one of the Blue Brigade just completely cracks under the pressure, and this is not looking good. It's slipping away from them.
2 of the Hell Clowns, I noticed 2 of the Hell Clowns during that time have also crashed. The Hell Clowns have gone completely gone. They were doing so well earlier. Now there's just 2 left on the track. One of them sent in a wild direction in that green funnel. They're going to finish very slowly now. It's all the Hell Clowns. Oh, they're in big trouble. Meanwhile, Citrus Sprinters and White Knights have multiple doing very well, I think. Hell Clowns have just completely botched it after those 2 DNFs, and the Blue Brigade only have 1 still moving. I think the Blue Brigade are gone here, unfortunately.
The Blue Brigade, they tried to salvage good positions in that green funnel. You can see it was absolute chaos, but while one of the teams, Hell Clowns, tried to maybe help them, it's not going to be enough. They needed to beat 2 teams, and the White Knights and the Citrus Sprinters have just done better in this semi-final.
And the White Knights, in fact, will actually jump into the green one after the Blue Brigade have already come through. They're just showing off at this point. They're just trying to show off. I don't know what the White Knights had to show off. They haven't done too well, but they just keep going. The Hell Clowns, though, that is very unfortunate. 2 DNFs at the late stages of the race. I have to watch the replays for that one. But look at this. Beyond 2 minutes, maybe even going for 2:10. Absolutely, wow, look at 2. Wow. I cannot believe that.
And all this does is just heighten the tension for the other teams that still have a championship on the line. But the White Knights, once again, I think that's Milk, once again, getting first place. I want to sign them up for a funnel event because they have done beautifully in the heat and the semi-final.
Now you see one Hell Clown crash there, second Hell Clown crash is there. That's where it all went wrong. Absolute, well, hell for the Hell Clowns in those final couple of orange funnels. Gets them out of this race, I'm pretty sure, with only 2 getting to the bottom. And, yep, there it is. By 6 points, the Blue Brigade are out.
That means we have just the Green Peacocks that can dethrone the Party Crashers, but both of them are in the semi-final. If the Party Crashers move on and the Green Peacocks don't, it is over and the Party Crashers will have clinched the championship.
And then even by some if they both don't advance, that is also it for the Green Peacocks. But they're all still contesting for podiums, but this is the definition of a blockbuster race. Everything relies on this. You've got 2 championship contenders, 1 podium contender, and of course the Serpent Speeders, who, don't doubt them, they were the winner of the final event in Season 1, so they still have final event prowess. Moneymakers are up to a great start. 2 on those top funnels, but they start to fall on through as I say that.
The Green Peacocks, this is so important for them. No matter what happens, they have to advance if they want to be champions. But the Party Crashers are hoping to spoil the party. Serpent Speeders, as you mentioned, very good in final events, hoping to spoil the party as well, maybe. We'll have to see, as the Moneymakers are looking in a very good position on the top of the translucent funnel.
Moneymakers currently have top 3 in the early stages of the race, though. It could go very wrong. There was one Green Peacock well down there, but he could easily hold out as one Party Crasher joins him, followed by a Serpent Speeder. One of every marble except for the Moneymakers, who are doing still very well in these top stages of the race. But now they start to pile into that green one where all hell begins to break loose.
I think there's a couple of Party Crashers down in the bottom, but also a couple of Green Peacocks. Party Crasher falls on through, another Party Crasher falls on through. It might be over for them, but the Green Peacocks, they desperately need to get some more help if they want to advance here.
The Green Peacocks, after those 2 Party Crashes, 2 Green Peacocks followed suit, so the Green Peacocks, we need to hope for some bad runs by the Serpent Speeders, who have had 3 come across now, so it's looking possible. Party Crashers are now all done. Party Crashers, there's no way they advance with that one. But the Green Peacocks need as best as they can. That's going to be, I think, 5th place for one of them. This one needs to hold out as long as he can to try and maybe even win the race.
Moneymakers, I think they're through. Party Crasher are not through. It's a battle between the Serpent Speeders and the Green Peacocks for the other transfer position. A battle that has so much championship implications as we see this Green Peacock trying to fend off the Moneymaker. I think they'll be able to do it. Will they? Yes, they will. The Green Peacocks individually will get the win, but it is enough to get an advancement. We'll have to see.
Now this is the most tense I think Tour Endurance has ever been. Between Green Peacocks and the Serpent Speeders, which one advanced? Party Crashers with bottom 2 are gone, but Green Peacocks and Serpent Speeders, Moneymakers are safely through. I think everyone can agree on that. But now we're just waiting in pure anticipation for who advanced to the finals.
Championship could be clinched here if the Green Peacocks don't make it. Tension rising as we see multiple Serpent Speeders in the replay, almost losing positions.
Look at that play.
They had.
Look at that play with that Green Peacock. Pushes a Moneymaker on through. If it was a Serpent Speeder, that could have been the game. And speaking of the game, the Serpent Speeders, 1 point in it. The Green Peacocks, with that loss, Party Crashers are your Season 2 champions for Tour de Endurance.
By 1 point. That is absolute heartbreak for the Green Peacocks. It is over. Before the final, the Party Crashers, they're in 8th place, but they've crashed the real party here, as they will be the champions. Not even with the event over, we still have a winner of this event to crown.
Of course, the Moneymakers in this one, they can still claim a podium if they do they can still claim an overall podium if they do a good run in this final race. But Serpent Speeders, who are looking to get another gold in the final, the White Knights, who are just looking for a medal, and the Citrus Sprinters trying to just get a good finish for the season. They're all trying to figure out to just get a good end to this one.
Serpent Speeders, hopefully it's good for them, as well as the Citrus Sprinters and the White Knights. Moneymakers, though, a lot on the line here. Even if they're not in championship contention, they want to end on the podium, and they want to end on a high that they started. But will they be able to? The Moneymakers, they've looked very good in this event, but they are not in this final. Serpent Speeders and White Knights have multiple in the translucent funnel.
Serpent Speeders have 2 in the translucent final, in fact, as the White Knights push on through. Look at the Serpent Speeders, they're off to a great run here, with another one in the orange. Serpent Speeders have currently a top 3 going for them, while the Moneymakers, Citrus Sprinters and White Knights brawl down below for those bottom spots. Serpent Speeders are on an absolute tear in the final, while White Knights plunge off the side and still manage to push a Moneymaker on through the hole. That's crazy.
The Moneymakers, they're looking like a shadow of their past selves. They're not able to get good ground here. They had one marble finish last. Some of the other marbles trying to hold out, but the Serpent Speeders look like they're in a good position to potentially get a second win in a row in the final event.
They have had one finish. That's one finish for all of them, but there are multiple Citrus Sprinters toward the bottom. They have now 3 come across with multiple Moneymakers down there as well, but the Serpent Speeders tearing up this final track. White Knights have still 3 on the board. But they've all, and then he's fighting him off, but it's not going to be good enough. Serpent Speed, do this. I mean, I'm still looking at Serpent Speeders. It's amazing to watch. Serpent Speeders absolutely pushed him on through.
I think the Citrus Sprinters are going to miss the podium. 3 Serpent Speeders still here, but 2 of them in the orange funnel, not just 1. But the Serpent Speeders looking like they're going to get the gold here.
Multiple left, but the Serpent Speeders had 3 in the top 4, and they will get top 2 in the race. The only team to get multiple in a row at the top result. Serpent Speeders, absolutely dominant win in the final. That's 1st, 2nd, and 4th. That should be a massive win. Again, for the 2nd time in a row, Serpent Speeders will win the final event of Tour de Endurance.
Very well done to that team as we see how the others shake out. I think the Citrus Sprinters will miss the podium. There are a lot down there in the order. White Knights and Moneymaker, this might be close for the silver. Moneymakers, of course, podium overall and auto qualification still on the line. So we'll have to see how it is for them.
Of course, auto qualification is definitely on the line. That's very important. White Knights. I'm sure they're happy to see let's see what the standings round up to. Once you see the Serpent Speeders, just perfect movement all the way throughout, keeping themselves high in the early stages while they let the others battle and plummet on through, and they win by 11 points over the White Knights, who get a good silver to end their campaign, and the Moneymakers will take a bronze in the finale, while Citrus Sprinters, 4th place. I'm sure they're happy with that in general.
Moneymakers, I don't know if it's going to be enough for auto qualification. Just a bronze. Compare that to a gold. That's 10 points you're losing out. But a very well done to the White Knights and, of course, the Serpent Speeders.
And with that, Tour de Endurance Season 2 has come to a close, with the Party Crashers taking the win. With done calculations, Moneymakers will not take a top 3 spot. They will be rounded out by the Green Peacocks in 2nd and the Blue Brigade in 3rd. Thank you very much for watching. Please enjoy the closing ceremony. Okay, you can talk now normally. What are your thoughts?
Oh my god, my face is red. Serpent fucking speeders, man. I was so close. Like, okay, before you. Oh, Onion Union time.
I can pause and we
It's
can
not-
watch that later if you want.
49 points.
Yeah, that's bad. That's
Yeesh.
bad. That is very bad.